I might as well do that because I have it pulled up here for this to figure out, like, I think Pong is further back, but I could only, like, I was mostly running into board games, and I'm just going to do 1978 upwards. But I think Pong was 1972. Let's correct myself on that. Pong. And I'll be going through these lists, giving my personal thoughts. Yes, it says 1972. Originally released 1972. I think it did talk about something similar to Pong that was either around that same time or before even, but I don't think it was a video game in the same sense. So we're going to start with 1978. And I got a list. I just type in video game releases 19 and then the year of 1978 into Google. And I look through this. We're going to try to get to the magma worm today. I'm not going to have fun with this boss. I never have that fun with this boss. This is one of my least liked. They're dropping in the boys. Take cover. If you want relaxing videos, by the way, because I've been watching relaxing videos after being bullied. Yeah, I shouldn't have had the kind of stuff that happened. I just stated what I thought because I felt like the way it was going across was very rude and manipulative. And it started to be like a different way of rewording that it wasn't even an opinion anymore. It was basically that person using that they said it was their opinion, but using it in a way that clearly means the opposite. The motivation behind it was not a good motivation. It was very, very disgusting. Putrid even. And yeah, I just don't want to deal with that crap. So if you want happy videos, I've been watching Cat's Library, is that what it's called? And I watched a video, I can't believe the name of this, but can you beat Elden Ring? And I think this guy's name is Scumnut, and he's also got a channel called Scumnutty. It's like spelled SKUMNUT and then NUTTY for the other one, and it's all attached. But I've been watching those, and he had one where it's like, "Can you beat Elden Ring with your balls?" With my balls was the title. And the Cat's Library is just adorable. I love what. I think that's the name of the channel. If I get it wrong, then I'm sorry. It's I think a Japanese channel. I might be wrong on that too, but I love the freaking adorable kitten taking care of ducklings and the little chicks. There's one feisty cat as well in some of the videos, and then there's a cat that just kind of looks like he's a little lazy. I like this grayish white cat. Let's just get on with this. Did I set this already? Yeah, I think I did, because it doesn't say the light it thing or whatever it usually says. So we got, for 1978, I got Space Invaders, and I think already Space Invaders would be my game of the year looking through this. There's a couple of sports games. Yeah, there's like Atari Baseball. So if you don't know, I think of myself as kind of a boomer zoomer. Like, clearly I'm not like super old, I'm 30, if you don't know my age. And, but I was raised with I lived in my grandmother's house, my mom lived there. We had kind of a hard life. Eventually we were able to do other things. It's still kind of a hard life now, because there's a lot of complications in between here and there with just what goes on in life. And she had all sorts of consoles. She had an Atari, Dreamcast, Genesis, NES, SNES. I still have some of those consoles too, N64. I think a Sega Saturn, I can't remember. And then later, like, I got most of the consoles, or my mom got me most of the consoles after that, like Xbox 360, Xbox One. I think I got that. That one was me, mostly. Um, of course, PS4 as well was me. I bought those consoles myself, and then PlayStation 1, 2, 3. Actually, I bought 3 and 2 on my own. I actually bought a couple of them later because I think some of them were I still have from the past that were my grandmother's, but some of them I did rebuy console versions, and yeah, they like whatever I feel like putting them on. I have a GameCube, a Wii, a Wii U, and a Switch, and Switch is also one I bought too. Wii U was Wii U. I think my Wii U my grandmother actually bought for me. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think so. And there's like so many games we played on those. I'll probably talk about some of those games as we go through. And I did play like I mostly played a Game Boy version of Space Invaders, but I do very much know of the arcade version. I used to go to arcades with my uncle, um, but sadly I don't think the arcade that we used to go to. There's two new arcades actually in my area, which is great. One of them I don't go to, and the other one's in my local movie theater, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm seeing there's miniature golf. I don't know how that did back in the day. Atari, baseball, I know about that. Basketball, Blasto. Um, oh, Superman. Probably wasn't a very good Superman. I know Home Run. That cover looks familiar. Atari Football. I know Atari Football. I think that would be my second, personally. Oh, Super Breakout. I love Breakout. I used to have a Mario version of that, but I know the original too. But that was an addictive game. I played that like the Mario version on my Game Boy a lot, along with Space Invaders. I remember Space Invaders would tick me off with the last alien coming down, and just getting faster in general. And I would either take a break or just be angry at that. I had anger issues. I still kind of do, but I try to keep it calm. The latest situation was not helping. But it's best to not aggravate that. The person sent like 3 more messages, and of course I'm going to see it because it puts it in my little notifications tab, and I always check my notifications. I had to block him because I felt like he was just a very bad influence, and that and I don't want to mention names, so that's all I'll say here. But yeah, it's not good. I went over the messages with my friends and was like, this guy's still going. He sent like 3 more freaking messages after like my 4 hours messages were already gone and done. He's like, I understand you're trying to get to every message, but do you have to keep being a jerk? So yeah, I just felt the motivation and such was really, really terrible behind what was going on. So, and I want to ignore it by making this video. But just to let you know, I still deal with bullies from time to time, I guess. Even though that shouldn't even be a thing, honestly. That's just kind of weird. Especially in my case, it's like, what? I'm 30 years old and I'm still dealing with what feels like a generic school bully. Really? I'd select Space Invader. Space Invader's fun. I'm sorry to be personal on that. But, yeah. Just letting you know, like, things and annoyances. But, Space Invaders, let's move on to, found this great site, to 1979? Yeah, 1979. I think these early ones, I don't know if I'll have as much to say. Oh, it's already typed in for me. There we go. Let's see. Oh, this one might actually have some. So we got Asteroids, Galaxian, NFL Football, Space Invaders Part 2. I don't remember Part 2. Is it just Part 1? I didn't even know they... I know there's a bad 3D one that has a shower scene for some reason. I was like... what the frick? That came out later. I can't remember which YouTuber talked about that. It might have been Pro Jared. I'm not seeing any others that I recognize. Basketball again. Okay. Galactic Empire sounds familiar. Don't recognize this in the picture though. Okay, Human Cannonball. Alright, so, let's... Yeah, I think... Oh, it's between Asteroids and Galaxian. I like both of those. I don't know if I can pick their... I think I like Galaxian a little bit more. That would be my game of that year. Galaxian was pretty cool. But I do have fun with the other one. Whoops. Oh, crap. Oh, that works out too. Okay. Hopefully. Let's see. Oh, what the frick? That is a long-ass list. Alright, we're moving on to 1980. It was already typed in for me. So we have Pac-Man, Battle Zone. At least that's what it says. Was that really back then? Is that a Tron? Yeah, I don't know. Space Panic, LEX Warlords. I'll mostly just mention things that I recognize if there are any of you know. Whether it's on top of the head. Oh gosh, I recognize the golf cover there. Yeah, I think... You know, I think the ones that stand out to me, I probably played some of these others, but the ones that of course stand out are going to be obvious ones like Space Invaders and such, and Pac-Man here, so of course this year's a no-brainer for me, Pac-Man. My grandmother loved Pac-Man. She used to challenge my I think aunt or sister to like they would go back and forth trying to beat each other's high score on Pac-Man. And she told me that story quite a while back. This area is going to be annoying. Ooh, yes, thank you. Alright, we got Donkey Kong, Frogger. Donkey Kong, Frogger. Another frickin' ladder. Oh, Mousetrap. Interesting. I did play those. Haunted House. That sounds familiar. A game called Thief, and I'm just confused because I'm like, is this the one with Garrett? You know, the frickin' Thief Gold and Thief Diddly Shadows and all that. What was the second one called? Let's forget this game. It'll probably be on up here once I see it. Okay. Red Alert. That's like, I'm just thinking of the Transformer. Isn't there an old Transformers game? I might run into that. Quest for the Rings. Okay. This one might be Gorf. What the frick? This one might be obvious too. So I did love Frogger. Frogger was cool. But Donkey Kong's where it's at. That is the game of that year. Donkey Kong was very memorable to a lot of people, and it's just such a classic. It's even referenced today in recent Mario games too. Just such a classic. and it will be remembered for a long ass time. Oh my gosh, ladders. Somebody played a frickin' Snake Eater song already. I think there's actually longer ladders than frickin' Bloodborne. They could have put that song there. Alright. Sorry I keep halting myself. It's mostly because I'm trying to type these in. So maybe playing a game isn't a good idea, but I want to do it anyway, so... Okay. Oh god, E.T. That's definitely worst game of the year. Got Miss Pac-Man. Sweet. Zaxxon. That is cool, a cover art. I don't know if I played that though, but I like that cover art. Donkey Kong Jr. I might have liked that one. Oh, is that the... I think I actually remember that. Pitfall. I love Pitfall. Dig Dug. That's a good game. Saw frickin' Game Grumps play that recently. I don't think it's a recent video, but I saw like some other gameplay footage. Beat 'em and Eat 'em. I love that title. Super Pac-Man. Interesting. I don't remember if that's a good one. Baby Pac-Man. Ooh, they were doing a lot of Pac-Mans. I'm guessing it's getting into the... They were trying too hard with the Pac-Man year. So, I think I'm going to go Pitfall this time because I love Pitfall, and I especially loved it when they referenced it in one of my favorite Xbox games, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and it's probably going to be on here at some point. But I love when they did the arcade section and they had Pitfall as a level. That was pretty cool. Alright, oh, now we're getting into some interesting things here. 1983. I think I actually still own some of these. I think I still own Space Invaders for the Game Boy. I think I still have that. I would have to look. I think I know which bin it's in. Because I had to store it away. Unless it's in my Game Boy right now. Let's see. We got Mario Brothers. That's probably already going to be a winner. I have to give props to Dragon Lair, though. It's a difficult game, but man, that is, I love the art style. It's so freaking cool. Such an interesting game. I didn't... Oh god, Halloween game. Star Wars. I don't remember if that's good or not, but I know it. Punch Out! Ooh. Hey, is that the... What's the original one? Is that one... Oh, it's Punch Out. It's iconic. I think that's it that I know of. Space Ace, that sounds familiar. Jetpack, that sounds familiar. I think I'm gonna... Personally, I played the Mario Brothers game the most. I think that one I really love, and I think would genuinely be my game of the year. But if I had to give it to something just unique, I love frickin' Dragon Slayer just because of because of Don Bluth. Freaking love his stuff. Secretive Nim's freaking awesome. I love dark stuff in general, dark 80s movies in general. I'm gonna do a movie version of what I'm doing here, by the way, and I'll go even further back, like when movies were just getting their their foothold. So that would mean I'd go back to black and white, and that was another thing. Like my grandmother and mother had a lot of black and white movies around and such. I actually watched Nosferatu, the original version, on Tubi not long ago. That was probably a month ago, but yeah, I love that movie. It's freaking dark. Oh, this guy doesn't go down easily. Ooh. Having that. That guy was really difficult, by the way. Why did he have so much health? Jeez. Alright. think we're moving on to 83, 84? Let's check. 84, we're moving on to 84. Excuse me. I hate the terms boomer and zoomer, but that's like, if you wanted something you knew the terms of today, then I guess that would be the best way to describe somewhat what I'm like. Let's see. I've heard of 1942. I might have played that. Kung Fu Master, Tetris. My grandmother was a giant fan of Tetris. She loves Tetris. That music will never be forgotten. Some people still sing that song. Duck Hunt. I actually have a combo game where it has Duck Hunt and Mario, and we all know we all hate that freaking dog. So, Pinball. Was that a Mario version? It's got Mario on the cover. Dragon Slayer. Is that based on the movie? My uncle loves Dragon Slayer. He thinks it's one of his favorite movies. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game. I'm gonna hopefully read the book for the channel. I love that book. And I actually recently watched the old series too. I think I'm gonna go Tetris. Excitebike. I almost missed that. I'll still go Tetris. Freaking Tetris is like picking Donkey Kong or Pac-Man of the previous years or Space Invaders. It's just such an iconic game, and it got its own like battle royale thing, and it was like the most popular too. I still kind of play it from time to time, so just the fact that's lasted so long is freaking crazy to think about. Ghosts and Goblins. I love Ghosts and Goblins. Such a good series. Oh, Gradius though. Now it's starting to get difficult here. Wrecking Crew. Okay, Super Mario Brothers. Love it. That might be the one that's actually connected to my Duck Hunt. It's either that or Super Mario. Or Mario Brothers. Just Mario Brothers. Space Harrier. Gauntlet. Sweet. Twin B. I think that's everything that I know here. And or played. There's this game just called I'm Sorry. Yes, I accept your apology, but I don't know what the frick you're sorry for. So, Super Mario Brothers is freaking iconic, and I think that is like the actual game of the year. But my personal pick would be Ghosts and Goblins. I freaking love Ghosts and Goblins. It doesn't help I'm playing freaking Elden Ring, and you guys, it's notorious for being a hard-ass game, and it is. I love Ninja Gaiden too. Ninja Gaiden was one of my favorite series. And we'll probably get to that soon. I'll talk a little bit about that. I love Ghosts and Goblins. I actually played the newest one. Great game. Great freaking game. So, yeah, it just stands out to me. I love the designs of the characters, and they just went down in history as just a great Capcom series. Alright. Okay, 1986. Ooh, freaking hitting me with Legend of Zelda. Bubble Bobble. Bubble Bobble's fun. Metroid. Oh, you're hitting me with Metroid. That hasn't aged quite as well, though. I mean, both of them haven't aged as well, but for that time, those were freaking good, and I still dabble once in a while. Let's see. Arkanoid. Dragon Quest. I actually got the original Dragon Quest for my Switch so I can play it. Castlevania. I was actually not a big Castlevania fan back in the day. Nowadays I have the collection version, version, the slurring my words, and uh, I love difficult games, but like something about Castlevania I couldn't get into. I loved Symphony of the Night though. Great art style, and I'm probably gonna get to that at some point. That is a hard game to hate. Still ages well too. Kid Icarus. I think Kid Icarus was better personally for me in later years. I recognize Mighty Bomb Jack just from that picture. Fantasy Zone, such a cute freaking game. I love that game. It's like a side scroller shooter or whatever you call those. Good game though. But it's like a cutesy version. The Batman game. I love Batman. King's Quest 3. Interesting. I'm thinking of the one that From Software is known for. King's Field, that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry. Oh, my phone says it's gonna die. Almost thought that said Kiki's Delivery Service. It says Kiki Kai Kai. Interesting. I love Zelda. I think Zelda is my favorite. I think that's my personal game of the year. Metroid's just as much, but man, Zelda's fantastic. Let me plug this in so that my phone doesn't die in the middle of me doing this. Which means I may have to be close to the screen just because the wire is not very long for this. Alright, so let's move on to 1987. So yeah, Zelda's my pick. Still love it. I still have my gold copy of it. I love that they were gold. Hey, Zelda 2. I actually prefer Zelda 2 over the first one, but I acknowledge that Zelda 1 was the start of the series and such a classic that still a great game. To an extent, hasn't aged well in some places, but you know. So then we got Punch Out, Metal Gear, Double Dragon. Hold on, let me check something. The headset. I'm sorry that I'm just standing around the background. I know this isn't probably that entertaining. Yeah, I'm just mostly going through this. I mean, some people watch my read-alongs and all that is the background stuff. So I would hope that this has like a similar effect. Hopefully, and probably not. I do voices for that, unless you want me to do voices for this. Got Punch Out again. We got Zelda 2, Double Dragon. I wasn't a Double Dragon fan back in the day, so I appreciate it more now, and there's a lot of games that I didn't originally like that I actually have more respect for or love more nowadays or understand more nowadays. Double Dragon, Metal Gear. Metal Gear was not very good. Mega Man. I love Mega Man. That's gonna make this hard. Doki Doki Panic. Final Fantasy. I was also not a Final Fantasy fan back then. But I will get to that later because it did become a more favorite series of mine. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. I think that one was least loved amongst fans. Dragon's Quest 2. Did I already say that one? Maybe I did. Street Fighter. Street Fighter was not very good back then. And Phantasy Star. Shadowgate. I love Shadowgate. Dragon Scroll. I'm just thinking of the Top Gun game. Ooh, Yeez. Wow, is it that old? Is that the same series? Holy frick. Hold on. That's the same series, goddamn. Shinobi, I think I know that. Pac-Mania, Alex Kidd. I think I have Alex Kidd somewhere. 1943. The Karate Kid, I remember that. I think I'm gonna go with... This is a harder year though, because you got Zelda 2, you got Double Dragon, Mega Man, Contra, I almost missed that. Damn. Final Fantasy, for you Dragon Quest fans, that's on here. Um, Personally, I'd go Zelda 2 or Mega Man. I think I'd go mostly Zelda 2, though personally nowadays, because I have the collection of Mega Man now, though I do own the original copy of Zelda 2, I actually probably play Mega Man more. But even in that collection, like I choose to play the sequel Mega Mans and those. So I think I'm going to go Zelda 2. Whoops, I hit my microphone. But Contra, man, I love Contra, and I think Final Fantasy for a lot of people probably was that game of the year then. It was like a big RPG moment. One of the, I don't think the first RPG, but one of the biggest defining RPGs. And it kind of saved the company, I think, back then. Alright, 1988. About to get to the PlayStation era. So here's Ninja Gaiden, Mega Man 2, love Mega Man 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, goddamn. Super Mario Brothers 2, what? Did they come out the same year? That's, huh, I did not know that. Interesting. Dragon Quest 3, Ninja Gaiden, yeah, I already said that. I forgot there was a RoboCop game. Splatterhouse, Altered Beast, I think I actually own a collection version with that. Final Fantasy 2. Ys, oh, that might actually be the Ys series. Wow, that is old. Oh, damn, Godzilla. I love Godzilla, and I love Batman. I see Batman Caped Crusader. But I love Godzilla. I think I like the later games better, though. Ghouls and Ghosts. Freaking yeah, I do love that, too. Super Contra, great game. And not see. Oh, King's Quest 4? Yeah, 4. That's IV. I need an IV star. No, but I think I'm gonna have to go with. So I love Ninja Gaiden, but that's not gonna be my game of the year. It's between Super Mario Brothers 3, which is obvious. That's probably the choice for a lot of people, and Mega Man 2. I actually have, just like my Zelda copies, I have the original copy of Super Mario Brothers 3. I think I have 2 as well, but I prefer 3. 3 has the Tanuki Mario, and it's just it's a game that's kind of timeless and has aged pretty well. It's just a fantastic game to play and put on and get addicted to for hours. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. Otherwise, I would have probably picked Mega Man 2. I love Mega Man 2. Yeah, that's one of the sequels I played. Whoops, I accidentally put in 1982, sorry. Let's go to 1989, the year that Batman 1989 came out. I'll do movies some other time. So we got DuckTales, Golden Axe, yeah, Final Fight. I was not a big fan of Final Fight either, but then I got to play it again in the beat 'em up bundle, and I don't think it's that bad. Actually, I had a lot of fun with its characters. But yeah, I was just not a beat 'em ups person back then, or like a side-scrolling beat 'em ups. Super Mario Land, I loved the sequel to Super Mario Land. That was probably one of my favorite games to play. Excuse me. DuckTales is a great game, classic. There's a Batman the video game. Mother, my friend loves the Mother series, but I think the later Mother games were better than the original and aged better, but still a interesting game. Dracula's Curse of Castlevania 3 I think was better. I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I actually still have a copy now, and I saw it not too long ago actually too. Might be in this box that's in front of me. But yeah, that was freaking. I recognize that. Fester's Quest. Willow. Oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was freaking hard though. It was a difficult freaking game. Ghostbusters 2. I don't think the Ghostbusters games were very good. Uncanny X-Men. There was one X-Men game I played on the Game Gear. I actually do have a Game Gear. But yeah, like, I don't remember many of the... Oh, Shadow of the Beast. I actually played the remake of that. I love the remake, and I thought the original was pretty cool too. You can play that one on the remake, and I think I platinumed the remake too, or the remaster, or whatever it wants to call it itself. Strider. I'm a big fan of Strider. Great game. I think I'm gonna go Prince Persia. There's the original Prince Persia. Yay. I think I'm going to go Super Mario. Ooh. It is the one I played the most, but I'll just go Super Mario Land. I don't know if I think DuckTales was better in my opinion, maybe. Yeah, I like that art style is still great. It still holds up. But yeah, one of those. One of those, please. 1999, Super Mario World. That I freaking love Super Mario World. The Secret of Monkey Island, such a freaking clever and funny series. They just made a new one too. I'm gonna have to play that. Dr. Mario. I think I still have Dr. Mario. I have a Game Boy version. Metal Gear 2. Once again, didn't really care for those games. I still think they haven't aged very well. F-Zero, freaking ridiculous racing game. Final Fantasy 3, Ninja Gaiden 2. It's just sad we don't get much with Mega Man 3. Love Mega Man 3. But we don't get like too many versions of F-Zero over here. Or even new versions in general. Like, that sucks. Ninja Gaiden 2 is fantastic. Fire Emblem. I have that, actually. I have that on my Switch now. A lot of my friends don't think it's the greatest, though, and it hasn't aged very well. Dragon's Lair, yes. King's Quest 5, okay. The Amazing Spider-Man, was that good, though? I think there were some that were good and others that were not as much. So for me, this is clearly Super Mario World. I can't. That's Yoshi. That I heard something. Hold on a sec. I'll be right back. How to... there it is. I think. No. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's get back to this. Man, I need a breather. Wait, are we on this here? Let's type that one in. Okay, 1991. I think that's where we are, I hope. Let me just double check. 1999. Yeah, we're on 1991. Okay. Street Fighter 2. I think there was different versions of Street Fighter 2, but I do remember that being the talk of the town then. Oh, Link to the Past and Sonic the Hedgehog. Frick. Final Fantasy 4 started getting... I think I really started to be like... I pay attention to Final Fantasy by 4. But it's not my favorite Final Fantasy still. Lemmings, I do remember that. Super Castlevania, I don't remember how that was. But once again, I wasn't a big Castlevania fan. I think it was until like Symphony of Night or whatever. I started paying attention. My grandmother loves Toe Jam and Earl. Battletoads is freaking ridiculous. Captain Commando, I actually think I played the version on the beat 'em ups. It's pretty fun, but I wouldn't select it as game of the year. Toe Jam and Earl would probably be my grandmother's, or Sonic. She actually loved both those games. They're probably her #1 games of all time. And there's actually a new versions of Toe Jam and Earl, as well as Sonic is still going today. He's even got movies and shows. I loved Sonic Frontiers, even though it's got some problems, clearly. And I love the, oh, what was the, I forgot. Oh yeah, the show, the recent show. What the frick was that called? Yeah, but you know, I like the new show. Was it Sonic Prime or something? Sonic something. I forget. Simpsons game, Home Alone. I saw what frickin' nerd review that. Yeah. Metroid 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Wait, where's the other? Wow, where was 2? Sonic the Hedgehog. Wait, is that on here too? Monkey Island 2. Great game. I actually own, I think it's the Xbox 360 remake version or something like that. Great game though, and definitely like big step up. Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I think I still like that. I don't know if there's a single like Ghosts and Goblins or whatever that I hated. Golden Axe 2. I love the Golden Axe games, but I have a feeling they're not going to make it with the kind of games we have up here, because my obvious pick, and I still love to put it in my Game Boy Advanced, because that's the version I played, but I did play the SNES, I believe, version of it. But man, I played that game on the go. I loved that game. Link to the Past is my personal favorite. Sonic or Toe Jam and Earl would be my grandmother's favorite. But yeah, what do I think would actually be game of the year? I think I would just go with The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It's aged really well, and so has Sonic. Really great games. Alright. Though, even though Sonic's a classic, I do think the later Sonics are great. Here's the year I was born, 1992. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I wasn't a big fan of Tails. I like Tails better now. But, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of a lot of sidekick characters. I didn't really like Robin either. Most of the Robins. But I enjoy them more now. Looking back, Super Mario Kart, fun time, but not the best Mario Kart. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Final Fantasy V. We're almost getting there. Dragon Quest V. Kirby's Dream Land, loved Kirby. Super Mario Land 2, oh, you got a Dune 2, what the hell? Wolfenstein 3D. Oh, this is gonna be, so it's Sonic the Hedgehog 2 versus Super Mario Land 2 for me, god damn. Alone in the Dark, that was one of the first horror games we got, one of the first survival horror. Contra 3, though I think the first Resident Evil was what popularized it into being its own genre or series. Mortal Kombat, Batman Returns game. See the penguin bite off somebody's frickin' nose. See. Spear of Destiny. Oh god, that sounds like that awful PlayStation game that was put on there. I don't think it is though. But if that is, that's interesting. Sonic. I think Sonic 3 is better, but I have a feeling Sonic 3 is going to be decimated by whatever's came out that year. My grandmother would think Sonic 2, but I love Super Mario Land 2. I think that's the first game Wario was introduced. I love his boss battle. Such a fun game. I have such fond memories. That's like one of my favorite Mario games, even though I acknowledge it's not the best. Love that game. I've spent lots of hours playing that. Alright, 1993. Super Mario All-Stars. Secret of Mana. I love oh, and Myst. I love Myst and Secret of Mana. Oh, I used to play... Oh, and Doom. Doom. Oh my gosh, those games are going to be a problem. Star Fox, fantastic. Super Mario All-Stars. I think I already said that. Mortal Kombat 2. Seventh Guest, I used to play that on PC. Mega Man X, great game. I think I like X2 or 3? I don't know. I love X though. Sonic CD, a lot of people love that. It's not personally my favorite, but I do like it. Where's Sonic 3 though? Link's Awakening. I think the remake to Link's Awakening is fantastic. The new one on Switch. Kirby's Adventure, love Kirby. I don't know if there's a single Kirby game like I hate or anything or dislike. Sonic Spinball, oh god. By the way, I keep skipping Duke Nukem. I realize Duke Nukem was last year too. I just don't like Duke Nukem. I never really liked the humor, the raunchiness of it. I did not care for. And it wasn't a character I cared about or liked. Oh god, Alone in the Dark 2. Alone in the Dark was never the same afterwards. I know Alien Breed. Where's 1 though? It says 2 on here. Oh man, this is gonna be a hard one. Where's Where's frickin' Sonic 3? Was that this year or another year? Okay, so here's the deal. We got Doom, Secret of Mana, and Myst. Check these games. I think I like Doom 2 better. But man, Doom is a defining shooter where Wolfenstein 3D was the grandfather. That was the daddy. That was the father. By this point, freaking Doom's the grandfather, while the other one is the great-grandfather, Wolfenstein. And I love Zelda games, but I do think that while Link's Awakening is still great, it wasn't the one that, for me personally, I remembered as fondly as Secret of Mana or Myst. I played Secret of Mana with my brother and sister, and even my mom. It had the multiplayer functionality. I hated the remake. The remake just disappointing. When the original ages better, because they mess up the art style. Such a freaking awesome game. And Myst, man, Myst is such a good puzzle game. Either one of those would be my personal game of the year. I freaking love Myst. Matter of fact, I've been playing Myst because it's on Game Pass, and frick yeah. I think because of the connect. Oh, and there's a YouTuber that I loved watching his Myst series for. I can't remember his name, but I'm sure I can find him easy if I looked it up. But let's keep going through these. But yeah, I think I'd go Secret of Mana just because of that connection between my family members. Such a good game. Such a good game. Alright. Oh, we got Donkey Kong Country. We got Earthbound. Ooh. That's my friend. That was one of my friend's favorites. There it is, Final Fantasy VI, which is what a lot of people love as one of the best Final Fantasies, and I think is one of the best. It has Kefka, one of my favorite villains. I just love clown villains. Joker, Violator, Pennywise. Frickin' clown villains are awesome. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, there it is. Sonic and Knuckles. Doom 2. Tekken was not good back then. At least when it was starting. Killer Instinct. System Shock. I love System Shock 2 better. Elder Scrolls Arena. Elder Scrolls got better after 3. But Daggerfall's impressive, I will say that. And Arena still leaves an impression. You still remember it. Or you would still remember it if you played it. Alien vs. Predator. Warriors Woods. Super Bomberman 2. Wow, the Bomberman games haven't been showing up on here. I love Bomberman, and I can't believe they haven't been showing up on here. Donkey Kong 94. My friend still plays Bomberman games from time to time. Hotel Mario, that's probably going to be worst game of the year, maybe. But I always hear about that. Not being good. Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. It's so funny seeing Super in that. Star Wars TIE Fighter, Fire Emblem, Mystery of the Emblem, then it gets cut off. Um, yeah, I never truly got into Dragon Quest or Fire Emblem until I bought some of the older games on my Switch and such, and I want to get some of the newer ones too. Because I want to give the series a try, and I don't hate it, it's just I never got the chance to play it, and I had so many other things I was playing or doing then. And of course, school. Couldn't just play it during school. XCOM US... Oh, I didn't know XCOM was that old. Need for Speed. Damn. The Lion King game. Okay. This is a year that's freaking ridiculous. I love Earthworm Jim. I love the show. I love how ridiculous it is. The humor. Reminds me of The Tick a little bit. Donkey Kong Country, such a great game. Very iconic. Super Metroid. Earthbound. I've been playing Earthbound on my Switch. Actually, or is it my Wii U? I know I have Earthbound on something, and it's a fantastic game, and that really could go up against Final Fantasy. But man, Final Fantasy VI is so good. That story and characters still hold up. Sonic and Knuckles is great. Doom 2, fantastic. I feel like these are games that certain somebody that was picking on me earlier would probably try to use for their example too. But then they just classify every game under that, and it's like, you gotta draw a line somewhere. You gotta draw a line somewhere. Sonic and Knuckles is freaking fantastic. But you're going up against freaking Super Metroid and Final Fantasy VI. Oh boy. I think Final Fantasy VI is a better story, but Super Metroid is a freaking awesome ass game. I'm going with Super Metroid, but just know that I think Final Fantasy deserves it because it's a freaking brilliant ass game, and the fact that it still holds up and some people still talk about it today as one of the best Final Fantasies is freaking cool. Such a good game. We're moving on to 1995. We got Yoshi's Island. They didn't put Yoshi's Island 1 on here? This is... It just says Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Okay, what? Okay, I'm confused. Command and Conquer, Mortal Kombat 3, Chrono Trigger. That might instantly win because that game's freaking awesome. One of the best games. I don't think I put it on my top favorite games of all time, but know that if I remembered it at the time, which it is a memorable game and such a well-crafted story and characters, such a good game. So many talented people that came together to make it. Like, I think there were some Dragon Ball Z some people behind Dragon Ball Z that worked on it too, like especially the art style or the artist. Donkey Kong Country 2, which was a great game compared to the first one. It was somehow better. I shouldn't say somehow, it was really good. Mega Man X3. Tekken 2, still not one Tekken. Oh, I love Rayman Clock Tower. That's a ridiculous game with the scissor guy. Mega Man 7. Tetris Attack, Marvel Superheroes, Heroes of Might and Magic. I love Heroes of Might and Magic, but I think it got better when 2 came out. 2 was freaking awesome. Castlevania Dracula X, Dragon Quest 6, Kingsfield 2. Where was Kingsfield 1? I think 2 is better, and Kingsfield is just such a overlooked series, and I don't know if it ever came like overseas, but like such a good game series. I love it. But is it a Worms? Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was that old. King of Fighters 95, not my favorite fighting game series, but not bad. I think I'm gonna go, oh god, Command and Conquer. I'm going Chrono Trigger. That's the most obvious. I know Warcraft 2 was out this year. I wasn't a big Warcraft fan. Um, Even when World of Warcraft came out, while I loved Wrath of the Lich King and knowing some of the history and stuff going on, the controversy behind Blizzard now, but talking about back then, even then I wasn't a big fan of World of Warcraft. Like, the only series of theirs that grabbed me was Diablo and maybe StarCraft. StarCraft 2 is great. And we had that for PC. We had all those, of course, for PC to play. Those big PC moments. I think I became a big PC gamer later in the early 2000s, and then like as I did love Xbox Original and such, but yeah, I did have a lot of PC stuff I played too. And it did go on even after like early 2000s. 96. Super Mario 64. I actually have the collection on the Switch with that. Quake, such a talk of the town, got its own convention. Duke Nukem 3D, not a big fan. Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, that is like such a bad... It's kind of like the room of video games. Like it's so cheesy and corny, but you can't help but love it. It's just such a lovable game. It's hard to hate it. I had Pokemon Yellow, but I do know Red and Blue. But yeah, I love Pokemon Yellow. Such a fantastic game. Mario Kart 64, Crash Bandicoot. I think... Oh, I didn't know Parappa the Rapper was... Oh, actually, you know what? That does make sense. This is PS1 era. There's Daggerfall, Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. Oh, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain. I think the later games are... At least some of the later games, like, I freaking love, I'll run into them. I actually still own the collection on PC, as well as I have the PS1 of Soul Reaver. That's what it's called. Love it, love it, love it. Crash Bandicoot, Mario Kart 64. Super Mario. I think Super Mario 64 is the best game then. Man, Blood Omen has such good story, and then Donkey Kong Country 3. Twisted Metal. I love Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal Black's probably my favorite. That's a lot of people's favorite. Diablo. I actually still own Diablo. I have a PS1 version for some reason. But, like, I love it because it has multiplayer. Fire Emblem. The genealogy of the... And then it cuts off, sadly. Yeah, Metal Slug. What would I go with? Quake was freaking fantastic. I'm not a big Tomb Raider fan back then either. Like, there were a lot of games I just couldn't get into, but I understand like why people love it, and I do respect it better now, and love it more now than I used to. But yeah, I understand why people loved it. I think I would give this to... I think I would give it to Super Mario 64. That game's still like... That game's like speed-runned and everything. Even though I love Crash, I think Crash got better later in its life. Oh, and Pokemon Yellow, like... Any of those Pokemons is freaking iconic. So... Yeah, fantastic. And Daggerfall had such a freaking big world. I feel like that Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen, the Legacy of Kain had my favorite story that year. Freaking, like, the lore and story in that game was actually really good, and it just got, like, better and somewhat worse in some cases. Like, I think Blood Omen 2 had some problems, and then, the Defiance was better, but also had some of its own problems too, but I still loved it. But I think it was mostly because of the gameplay and not the story. Like, the story was freaking brilliant. Such an underrated series. I think I'm gonna go Super Mario 64. Yeah, I freaking love... I actually wouldn't want to see a new Legacy of Kain series because I know they'd screw it up. But, Yeah, I would hope that if they did make one, that it would be really good and just on the same level of the story of the previous ones. They're so good. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. First billing, freaking Castlevania Symphony of the Night for 1997. Star Fox 64. I love Star Fox 64. I think I actually own it. It's in the box that's in front of me, of course. Donkey Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007. That was such a big deal to people as a shooter. I was not a big fan of Final Fantasy VII. I actually thought that the side characters didn't have very much development, and Sephiroth didn't either. He was just... But there's been characters that have barely had presence, like Sauron, and their presence is made known either through the actions of what goes on in the world or through the characters and what they have to say or their feeling, like how Sauron affects their journey. So that's kind of how I feel Sephiroth plays a part in. And I never felt sad during Aerith. I felt the remake actually did a really good job. It fixed a lot of the problems, but I think it did also create some problems for fans, especially with the ending. But whatever, I still like it. Fallout was freaking brilliant. I just wish it didn't have like a limited time limit kind of setting to like how many days you had to beat it in game, like in-game days. Oh, I love Riven. That's probably my favorite Myst game too. Torok is great. I'm not a fan of Postal, and sadly, I hate to say this, I understand why people love the series, but I was not a fan of Grand Theft Auto. I do think that 4 and 5 are the better games, and I hear a lot about San Andreas, but I just wasn't personally a big fan. That's just me. Quake 2. So if I will mention that the years those games came out, I will mention that they did do a really good job, and I think they do deserve like the Game of the Years that they won. If they did, I can't remember. Like, I don't think they did the Game Awards that far back, but to award games, at least I know they award games. I just don't remember like how that goes over, if they talk about it in magazines or whatever. Sonic R, that's probably the worst game of that year. Ultima, love Ultima. Tekken 3, I think Tekken was starting to get good then. I'm gonna give that one a bit, because I can't remember where Tekken really like affected me as a series, where I started really liking it. It was also a series that I wasn't a big fan of originally, and then it became one of my favorite fighting games. I love the most recent one, and I look forward to the newest one. Gran Turismo. I never played a Gran Turismo game, so I don't know what to say there, but I know there are other people who love it. X4 is this one. Mega Man X was starting to get bad, where Pro Jared would talk about the later ones. Don't remember. Tomb Raider 2, once again, not a big Tomb Raider fan. I think this is going to go to Riven. Age of Empires. I freaking love Age of Empires, and they have a new one. Fallout, Riven. I think Final Fantasy VII is, or Symphony of the Night, are the winner this year. But, freaking love Fallout. Age of Empires, Riven. Oh man. Frick. That's freaking hard. I'm gonna just go personally with Curse of Monkey Island. Didn't even see that. Riven. I freaking love Riven. The freaking that. Here we go. 1998. Ocarina of Time. Metal Gear Solid 1. I wasn't a big fan of Metal Gear. I didn't really get its humor, and I wasn't a fan of the story, the characters and story. Once again, I didn't like things like the hiding under the box or the fourth wall breaking stuff. Back then, you didn't really people can't work to piece together things like they do now with, like, say, Silent Hill's PT. So it was more of an annoyance back then than it was something clever. It was clever, it was just also stupid at the same time. It's kind of like a jump scare. It'll probably catch you off guard, but then you're annoyed afterwards more than you were scared at all. Half-Life, oh, frick. Resident Evil 2. I actually, if you don't know this, I wasn't a big fan of Resident Evil back then either. But I grew to respect and like Resident Evil 2, and Critical Nobody's video really went into depth with how the characters developed through 2, surprisingly. I love 3. 3 is probably my personal Resident Evil favorite. But I loved that there was, like, different directions the story would take. I do not agree with the whole Leon chasing after that ass. You might as well classify almost everything that did that, even movies, under that, because you do realize that's not the only personality trait they had. Like, Leon actually grew as a character, and he went from a rookie cop that wasn't very knowledgeable or very bright to taking a more leadership role, and he was just a much better character by the end. He took on a more authoritative, but also a role that he kind of had a very like personality that, and that actor, like, I miss that actor sadly. One of his last games was that 1998 game, Daymare. I don't know, but yeah, he took a more leadership role, and back then, like, the voice acting wasn't superb. And I actually have problems with the remake of Resident Evil 2, the same as Critical Nobody, where, and I don't think Leon is like Leon's character didn't really develop quite as well there. I think it was just mostly the gameplay really worked in that game, because it didn't have, like, a zoomed in into your freaking back of your head camera angle that made things feel awkward, and the gameplay was really smooth and not freaking awkward. And like, that game, I think, paced out, like, like, it had great level design stuff. I love the interconnect feel still. It just did a lot of things better than a certain other game. And I do think it's weak in the character department, but not entirely weak. You still kind of got these characters. There was purposes in the story to these characters existing, and yeah, it's just a really, really good game. But not better than the original, just because I liked the directions the original took. And back then, that camera, I would have liked to see a remake, actually, in the same vein as the first remake of the first Resident Evil of that. So we got Fallout 2, StarCraft, Turok 2, I have Rainbow Six as well, Baldur's Gate, oh god, Sonic Adventure, I grew up loving Sonic Adventure. Spyro the Dragon, also love that game. Medieval, I didn't play it back then, but I played it more recently with the remake. And it seems like a very interesting game. I probably would have liked it back then. Tenchu, Soul Calibur, love Soul Calibur, but 2 is my favorite. And Age of Empires, The Rise of Rome. Wario Land 2. Hey, where's the first one then? What? Okay, whatever. Unless that counted as Super Mario Land 2, I don't know. But yeah, like, oh man, Sonic Adventure, Baldur's Gate, Mario Party, that's a great game. Fallout 2, I think Fallout 2, oh, Thief the Dark Project. Frick yeah, I almost missed that. Half-Life, oh, this is a hard year. Ocarina of Time also. I think Far Cry 2, it's Half-Life or Far Cry 2 were freaking, like, big deals. Like, Half-Life was a big deal for shooters, and Fallout 2 was even better than the first. Like, such a fantastic story, villain. It didn't have like that time system. You could actually tell people to move out of the freaking way of the door, and I liked its companions, like Gorm, the freaking Deathclaw guy that wears a cloak in Vault 16, I think, or is it 13? No, 13 is the one he came from. At least the first character, if I'm remembering that right. But man, that's such. I love the companions in that. But yeah, such a good. Isn't the Marcus super mutant follower in that too? If so, he's great. Such a fantastic series. Banjo-Kazooie. I almost missed that. My friend loves that. He would probably choose that. It's between Ocarina and Fallout 2. I'm gonna go Ocarina. Ocarina is just so legendary, and I do think it deserves like Game of the Year too. But man, like Fallout 2 was freaking superb. Like that was the best story game then. Zelda works though very well too because it's got a very simple story, but it's also very fun and iconic and has great set pieces and characters that you'll never forget. And they don't even need to speak; they have personality through not speaking. One of the one that you play, which is freaking awesome. Like that just speaks on its own level without the actual character having to speak themselves. So then we got 1999, gonna party like it's 1999. Age of Empires 2, I love Age of Empires 2. System Shock 2, freaking awesome. Donkey Kong 64. Final Fantasy 8. I actually like Final Fantasy 8. And I have that actually. I can play that whenever I want on here. Same with 7 and such. I love 9. Is it 9? Yeah, it's 9. I love 9, and 10 is probably my personal favorite now, but I still really like 6. But yeah, I love 10. I think Titus is freaking hilarious. Ha ha ha. Like we've seen people meme and reference that a lot, but like I love like what that moment means in the moment. Silent Hill. Oh, I didn't like Silent Hill originally, but then I was like, you know what, I'll pick this up. My uncle always said it was a weird, stupid horror game, so I'm going to give it a try. I want to give it a chance. I picked it up and I was like, man, this game is actually creepy for an older game. Excuse me. And it's so good. I love it. It's not my favorite Silent Hill, but man, it's good. It's got weird acting. They all kind of do, but I feel like the acting, especially with the later games, was intentional. It kind of put you off in the same way Dark Souls does, where it's like the actors are good in that, though. I do think the actors are pretty good in Dark Souls, but man, it's got that same kind of tone where it's like creepy, cryptic answers and crap they give you and such. Or whatever. It's like, what the frick is going on? Even the characters you're following, freaking weird. Resident Evil 3, freaking love it. Smash Brothers didn't get good until Melee, in my opinion. Scython Filter, anybody remember that? That was a great stealth game. Do I own that? I might have a copy. Crash Team Racing, I actually have the remake of that. I love it. Medal of Honor, great game series. Sadly died later on. Planescape Torment, fantastic. Rayman 2, love Rayman games so much. There's GTA 2. Gex, another Tomb Raider, Last Revelation. I haven't seen the other Gex games on here. Half-Life Opposing Forces. I won't count anything that's like a expansion though. But yeah, I thought that was probably my favorite of the expansions to that game. Ape Escape, Persona 2. Persona was the first one on here. Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage. A lot of people love that one. I think I personally like the third game. Shenmue. I had somebody that was mad at me for what I said about the latest Shenmue. I still kind of stick by what I said, though my opinion has altered a bit. But I do think there are problems with the new one. Unless you're getting what you wanted out of it, that's totally fine. I just don't think it was very good, even to the standards of the originals, because it felt like it wasn't able to do certain plot points that I would have really liked to see. Jet Force Gemini, wasn't that a BioWare game? Is that the BioWare game I'm thinking of? I don't remember. Might be one of the earlier Crazy Taxi, Dino Crisis. I love the second Dino Crisis better. Here's a Magic 3. I love that freaking game. I used to play that so much. EverQuest. People remember EverQuest? That was my World of Warcraft, same as City of Heroes. That's probably going to pop up, hopefully. But man, EverQuest was nostalgic for me. I think you can still play those. It's kind of... I wouldn't say I want Elder Scrolls to be that, because then we got ESO, and I do not like ESO. But man, EverQuest was great. It had such great atmosphere too. Mario Golf, Pokemon Gold and Silver. I loved Episode 1 Racer Star Wars. That was fun. But I wouldn't say like Game of the Year. Let's see, what do I think? Get Pepsi Man. Driver. Freaking beat 'em ups used a driver as an example. Unreal Tournament. Legacy of Kain. What do I think was personally Game of the Year? I think System Shock 2 was personally the Game of the Year. But that's a hard but though, like, because I do think that's really good. I think System Shock 2 deserves Game of the Year then. But man, I love Silent Hill and Legacy of Kain. Those frickin' games are fantastic. I still own both of those PS1 versions. So good. So frickin' good. And I still love them. But which one do I pick? I think I'd pick Silent Hill because the Legacy of Kain series, while it was still really good in its early days, it needed time to pick up that story part side of things before I really started to like it. Let me get a little bit more relaxed and move on to the next year, which is going into the 2000s. Oh, Deus Ex, I already see, and Diablo 2. And Perfect Dark. Counter-Strike, oh god, my friends freaking played Counter-Strike like crazy. I do love that game. The Sims. Majora's Mask, Baldur's Gate 2, oh god. Final Fantasy 9, Thief 2, oh god. I'm going to play Code Veronica some more because I just wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm willing to give it a chance. But it's going up against some of the games I just named, so I don't think that's going to win either way. Jet Set Radio, my friends freaking love that. Banjo Tooie, great game, but I still prefer the first game. Spyro Year of the Dragon. I don't remember much about that Spyro. Pokemon Crystal version. Hitman, I have the Hitman Code name 47 for PC. I have a disc version too. It hasn't aged well. Freaking goofy game. Dino Crisis 2. Excite Bike 64. Love Dino Crisis 2. I don't remember. Oh, Deus Ex has probably got my favorite story of these. Whoops, accidentally dropped my phone, but it wasn't too far, don't worry. Now, you don't care, you want me to break my phone. Yeah, looking good. I think that, for a lot of people, was the game of the year. Oh, and Majora's Mask. That's like one of my personal favorite Zelda games. That's even PBG's personal favorite. I have to agree, I love how dark it is. It reminds me of like dark-ass 80s movies. I love freaking dark-ass 80s movies like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. And, freaking awesome. I'm going Majora's Mask, but I think Deus Ex has freaking excellent story in the same vein as Fallout 2. Such a good game. Such a good freaking game. 2001. Oh, Halo. Grand Theft Auto 3, once again, I'm not a GTA fan, but if you were, good for you. I don't know what else to add. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Where was the second one? I think that was one of the better ones. I never really played those games, and I didn't really care to. I just wasn't a sports fan, and I kind of grew out of sports games, especially nowadays. Like, there's probably a couple of decent sports games, but like Madden and FIFA, especially, they're just greedy ass games. Um, and the same for um, Max Payne. I wasn't a big Max Payne fan, but I think 2 is the best. Um, and I grew to respect it more later. Devil May Cry has the same situation. There's a lot of games like that with me where I just wasn't a big fan then, but like I grew to like them later in life. I gave them another chance, but they still wouldn't go up against like my favorites. Like there's those freaking up against Chrono Trigger or Mass Effect. Like frick that. All right, I think Halo is going to be the winner because that's the one I played like crazy. Oh, Silent Hill 2 though, and Smash Brothers Melee, Final Fantasy X, and Sonic Adventure 2. Jack and Daxter was alright. Red Faction conquers bad for a day. Ico. I actually prefer Shadow of the Colossus. Freaking awesome game. Twisted Metal Black. Freaking love that. Return to Castlevania Wolfenstein. That's probably my favorite of them. I did play the first Harry Potter game. But no. Black and White. I love Black and White. Baldur's Gate 2, Throne of Bahal, is that a expansion? Might be, because I see Lord of Destruction for Diablo 2. Man and Conquer, Dead or Alive, Pikmin, my friend loved Pikmin, Soul Reaver 2, loves Soul Reaver. There's the Bungie game I was talking about, Oni. Such an interesting game. Vengeance, Luigi's freaking awesome. Clive Barker's Undying. Fallout Tactics. I don't think we speak that game. Halo was probably the game of the year for a lot of people, and I do agree. Like, if you think that is game of the year, props to you. I think it's a freaking awesome game. I still play it now. I love it, but I just recently did a video series for Silent Hill 2. It's such a freaking... It's a magnum opus game. It's such a beautiful, dark, depressing game. I love Jordan Underneath's video on it, on the series in general. There's so much more there going on that mostly uses like visual storytelling and environmental storytelling and just great atmosphere, and I love psychological horror better than like jump scare horror and crap like FNAF or Callisto Protocol. Like, that game was not freaking scary. When even Jacksepticeye, one of the biggest YouTubers on YouTube, is like, no. I love that the guy that messaged me was like, oh, you think messaging on my video is gonna do anything, even though you got, I don't care. Everybody already acknowledges it's a stupid game. You can defend it all you want. Even frickin' Jacksepticeye's out here, like, screw that. Even Angry Joe, it's like, those guys are way bigger than you. They're bigger than me. They're bigger than both of us. You think you're gonna do anything? You would be hypocritical of that, too. And the way you've been approaching it lately, I don't think you're gonna look very good. You might grow a following similar to a certain other YouTuber that Hackman's been attacked by. But then that just would make you look like an absolute scumbag in the same sense. And I hope you would grow to be a better character or person in this term, similar to some of the characters I just talked about in these games. Just saying. But, piss off otherwise. Tried to play nice, and you get spat in the face, and somebody trying to get the last word multiple frickin' times. And when I altered that message, by the way, it was before you sent that one to the one that I said, the fricking, I don't even remember what I said, honestly. And I was looking through the messages wherever my old one was, and because I clicked on newest and I knew I made that other message today, it was just gone. I don't know where the frick it went. I'm not gonna say that you deleted it, but it is pretty sus right now, Among Us sus, that it was just gone. I'm gonna probably double check though. I need to find out where I can look under like comments I've made in the past, because I was having a hard time just trying to check that, but I just checked through the messages on your video in general, and I just couldn't find it for some reason. I went to the newest section, looked through, and then it just started to get to the 2 weeks old video or comments, and I was like, what? And I even looked into did I accidentally link that comment? I thought I just made it as new comment, especially since I didn't click at this person with it that time. So I just didn't see it anywhere. Unless, like, YouTube itself is being glitchy. I don't know. I'll check back later, though. But yeah, that was just a little weird in the moment. I'm gonna go with Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 was just freaking amazing. I have the Xbox original version of that, actually. Even though a lot of people love the PS2 version, I still think the Xbox original version is freaking awesome enough. And I actually had a friend of mine play through the whole game, and he was like, yeah, this is a freaking great game. Depressing, but great. Even freaking Maximilian, dude, was like that. Vice City for 2002. Oh, Metroid Prime. That might be the game of the year. Oh, Splinter Cell and Morrowind are on here. Frick. Kingdom Hearts, I think 2 is better. Still great game to mention, though. I think this was when Madden was still good, so Madden NFL 2003. Wait, 2003, what the hell? It says the year 2002, whatever. Super Mario Sunshine, I have that in my collection. I think I actually own the original version, too, so I have that twice. Love that game, one of my favorite Mario games. Jedi Knight 2, I actually like Jedi Knight Jedi Academy a little bit better. I love that game, freaking awesome. I think I have that on Switch so I can play the multiplayer. Me and my friends got into a lobby to play too. Medal of Honor, Pro Skater 4, Need for Speed, Warcraft 3, Hitman 2. I wasn't a big fan of Hitman 2, Silent Assassin. I liked Contracts. That was my favorite, and Blood Money. Resident Evil Remake, Ratchet and Clank 1, freaking awesome. Spider-Man 2 was a better game. Wind Waker, oh god, this is Neverwinter Nights. That was an interesting game. I wouldn't call it. Zero was very conflicting for me. Mech Assault, I think I like the sequel better, but freaking love that series. Such an underrated series, and I wish they would make a new one. I guess I have to rely on From Software for a new like mech-like battle game. I do look very much forward to that game. I love From Software, and I just respect what they do. They're just such a caring company, and they're not as greedy and disgusting as most companies have been, sadly. I remember seeing a comment saying that, like, why do most people hate on game, like most people just find reasons to hate things and such, and while that's true, I think that Critical Nobody's video, and I hate to keep pointing towards videos, but like they do have really just, I love their points, and I think they're really powerful. And he's like brings up, yeah, we are more cynical, some of us, like I'm probably more cynical, but at the same time it's not too far off the truth when a lot of these games come out in the condition they do, and they have some of the problems they do. And then like Cyberpunk and Fallout, like they really stand out, sadly. I actually do like Fallout a little bit better now, but I acknowledge it's freaking trash, and especially its day one stuff. Maybe living up to the stuff now, but man, was that an ass game when it launched. Like one of the worst. Mech Assault. Oh, and Jet Set Radio Future. Freedom Force. Interesting. Wind Waker. Resident Evil Remake. Oh my goodness, this is gonna Splinter Cell, Morrowind, Metroid Prime. Oh my freaking goodness. I think Morrowind is the best story game of that year. That game had such good lore and story. It was so... I still own that. I'm going to be playing through it again recently. I want to do it for the channel, actually, but because of my Elgato, I don't know if I'm able to. Splinter Cell, I played that for the channel. I thought it was not my favorite Splinter Cell. Chaos Theory is, but still great game. Still ages well with the lighting and everything. If what Ubisoft says when they're modernizing the game, hopefully they only mean the... What I do think is probably a little stereotyped is the voices of the Chinese characters in the game. So I do think those are the voice acting for them is a little stereotyped. So if they mean stuff like that, then fine. But if they mean other things, then you're gonna have some problems. You probably shouldn't use terms like modernizing in the first place. You should probably be a little bit more clear, if I'm being honest. Like, why wouldn't you, unless you're trying to hide something? Time Splitters 2, I'm playing that too, because my friend got that for me on Xbox, because it's backwards compat. I think Metroid Prime might be my game of the year that year. Resident Evil Remake is great, and I do play that from time to time, but Metroid Prime was awesome. Oh, Metroid Fusion as well. It's between Wind Waker and Metroid Prime. That's freaking difficult. A lot of people didn't like Wind Waker then, but man, is it such a good game. I don't think there's a single Zelda game I hate. Same with Splinter Cell, other than Splinter Cell Essentials, because it's not so essential, ironically. But, man, freaking... That is a hard one. Eternal Darkness is deeply underrated, and I love that kind of horror as well. But I gotta go with... I think Metroid Prime deserves Game of the Year, but I'm going to sadly pick Wind Waker. I'm just a Zelda simp. But I think Metroid Prime deserves Game of the Year. That was a freaking awesome game. Such a unique shooter. It still kind of is. Oh, Prince of Persia Sands of Time on freaking 2003. We're moving on. KOTOR, that might already win. Call of Duty didn't get super great until later. It still wasn't a bad series. I just liked it when Modern Warfare started coming out. Final Fantasy X2. Max Payne 2, that's the better. I might not choose that. Going Commando, Ratchet and Clank, love it. Beyond Good and Evil, love it. Jack 2, probably my favorite. Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, there it is. Freaking awesome. Silent Hill 3. Ooh. Entered the Matrix recently. I think that's the one I got. I'll have to show that on camera sometime. Postal 2, once again, don't care. Double Dash Mario Kart, that's like my favorite Mario Kart. Tron 2.0, my friend loves the Tron stuff. Devil May Cry 2, I think that's the least liked Hulk game. I actually played that, and Rayman 3 is great too. I love Rayman 3. I think I can actually play that now if I wanted. Legacy of Kain Defiance, I love that freaking game. Rainbow Six 3, I love Rainbow Six 3, such a good game. F-Zero GX, I own that. My friend borrowed that and I just got it back from him. Well, that's the one I was talking about earlier. Love that game. Super Mario Advanced 4, huh, interesting. Beautiful Joe, very interesting game, love the art style. There's a SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. I think I'm going to go with... Where'd it go? Yeah, I think I'm going to go KOTOR. KOTOR is just so good. It's such a good story. Like, nobody's gonna... It's the same as, like, the Luke, I am your father thing. The spoiler. But, man... Oh, what the hell? Why is there an update for Elden Ring? But, let me just make sure that I'm still... recording. We're going to move on to 2004. Let me go back to YouTube. Go to my channel. Okay, it says I'm still live. go. Okay, I think it's... yeah, it's still running. Okay, good. I just had to make sure. Can I have it in the corner while I do this? I can have it in the corner while I do this. That's cool. Okay. Alright, we got 2004. Let's move it out of the way, actually. Far Cry 2 and 3 were better. Halo 2, I love Halo 2. It's, I think, my personal favorite in the series. I played that like crazy. Half-Life 2 was also freaking awesome. World of Warcraft, that would be probably my mom and brother's game of that year. San Andreas, I know a lot of people love that. I love Doom 3, I think it's underrated. I actually played it more recent. Sims 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, I acknowledge that's a great game and I did play it back then, but while I love it more now, I wouldn't say it's like my favorite of all time, but it's still a really good game. Up your arse. Excuse me, jeez. Up your arsenal, Ratchet and Clank. That's probably my personal favorite. A lot of people's probably. KOTOR 2. Great game, but I still prefer the first. Fable. Sly 2. Love Fable. I like geek out over that. Vampire the Masquerade. Paper Mario. That was near door. Pandora Tomorrow. I actually really enjoy Pandora Tomorrow. The Suffering. I actually finally got a physical copy of Red Dead Revolver just as like a collector item. I was like, I want this just for my collection. And Spider-Man 2. I loved Spider-Man 2. I used to play that like crazy. Warrior Within Prince of Persia was good. Do you call Prince of Persia pop? Like WW? Was that like the shortened version of it? Metroid Prime 2. The Metroid Prime games were great. They were all really good. Four Swords, Legend of Zelda, Twin Snakes of Metal Gear, Solid, Metroid, Zero Mission. Great games, but however, you're going up against I would even say Metal Gear Solid 3, like that's crazy too. Fable, love frickin' Fable. Jack of Blades is a memorable villain, but I'm going to go with one of the shooters, Half-Life 2 or Halo 2. Oh, they're both so good. Even with the graphics of Halo 2 not aging well, it just has such a charm to it. Even its look, I still kind of like its look. It's got that same classic feeling charm, even with its like... There's something personality-wise to that game that I just really like too, that the first game has. So, man, that's a tough choice. We never got a Half-Life 3, so I'm going Halo 2. Though Halo 3, I actually didn't like certain story elements, but I thought the campaign was still good. It was just the certain story elements involving Sergeant Johnson, Gildy Spark, and how they killed off certain characters. Also, they replaced two of the actors, so whatever. I'll go Halo 2. That's the one that stuck with me. But Half-Life 2 is freaking like neck and neck. I'll just let you know. Like, that one I totally choose to because it's freaking awesome. Whoops. I hit the button on accident. What year did I do? Okay, so I think I'm moving on to 2005? This is slow, so I'm sorry. Oh, Resident Evil frickin' 4 and Chaos Theory. I actually wasn't a fan of Resident Evil 4, but I grew to love and respect it more now. And I did it for the channel. I love Shadow of the Colossus. Psychonauts is frickin' great. I'm glad I got a sequel. Chaos Theory, frickin' Battlefield 2. Do I even need to mention some of these others? Oh, I will mention Forza Motorsport and Star Wars Republic Commando. That was frickin' great. I used to play Batman Begins. Not a fantastic game, but I can see a lot of Splinter Cell and even future Batman Arkham Asylum kind of being born from it a little bit. There's some hints of that in it. Yeah, and I love, oh, Area 51 is freaking ridiculous. You could dual wield the most ridiculous guns in that game. Such a good game. Quake 4 was weird. Conquer Live and Reloaded, a lot of people didn't like. Star Fox Assault was alright, but weird that they kept changing how the games played. Call of Duty 2, Jade Empire, people love that. Ninja Gaiden Black, love Ninja Gaiden Black. So good. I didn't see the other Ninja Gaidens other than one when I was going through. King Kong is a great movie game. X-Men Legends 2, I freaking love that, but I think Marvel Ultimate Alliance is what perfected that type of game. Um, Kingdom Hearts 2, freaking awesome. Battlefront 2, and Fear, and Ultimate Spider-Man, and Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, god damn. Oh, and I played Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, but god damn, those other games are freaking awesome. I think I have my choice, though, because to me it feels obvious, kind of. Shadow of the Colossus or Resident Evil 4, I think, is actually the game of the year. I think Shadow of the Colossus is so artistic, and it was such a unique game. I love its music, and just like it has the way it tells its story, it feels similar to how like the Silent Hill and Dark Souls games tell their story. Just such a unique game, such a unique experience, and also has that kind of depressing atmosphere of the Silent Hill 2. It's such a good game, and I love the remake. I played that for the channel a while back. Chaos Theory is my choice, though. I always thought it came out in 2006, though, but I keep making that mistake. But I love Chaos Theory. Such a good freaking game. And I actually played it not too long ago. I went on just today before I did the live stream. I was like, I feel like playing a little bit of Chaos Theory. I was in the Splinter Cell mood, and I put it on. I love that freaking game. Such a great game, and I agree, Critical Nobody, the bank level, was always my favorite too. Freaking awesome. Oh, and I can't play that game without playing it on expert mode now. Like, that happened to a lot of games, even the other Splinter Cells. It's like, I can only play them on the hardest difficulty now. I can't go back. Or else I just feel like I'm playing a baby's game. No, I'm just kidding. It's still a brilliant game on the other difficulties, and I love playing co-op with my brother. I had another family connection kind of thing with me. I think Destroy All Humans did, especially Destroy All Humans 2. I love the humor in those games, and those are probably coming up. Okay, Okami, artistic game, Twilight Princess. People wanted that instead of Wind Waker, but it is the weakest link now between the two. But I still really like it. It's still great, and I love how dark it gets, too. Oblivion. I'm not a big fan of Oblivion of the Elder Scrolls games. It is the third favorite of mine. I like Skyrim and Morrowind better for different reasons, and I'll have to make a video on that sometime. But I still think it's a great game. Gears of War. Final Fantasy 12. I don't remember a lot of the Final Fantasies after frickin' 11, honestly. Other than 15 and 13, just because. Oh, and 14. But like, I stopped playing 14 a while back. But I acknowledge how popular it's gotten and how great it is still. Just personally, I couldn't get into it, and I didn't want to pay for its frickin' service. Double Agent, which I loved so much, but I do think it is a little weaker now. I actually prefer the first 3 Splinter Cells over it. Even Pandora Tomorrow, but it's still a great game. And I played both the Xbox Original and 360. I think I prefer Xbox Original just because it feels closer to what I loved about Chaos Theory's gameplay and everything. Wii Sports, Mortal Kombat Armageddon, there's Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Hitman Blood Money, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, love it. Resistance, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, it's a great character development episode. Though I like Episode 2 better, it's great, the development between your character Gordon and Alex. Interesting. Dead Rising, I didn't become a big fan until later. And I shouldn't have liked the newer Dead Rising games. At least the fourth one. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me. Saints Row is... Wait, why is Saints Row? Why is it using the Saints Row from, the newer one? That game's garbage, by the way, the new one. Destroy Humans 2, love it. Just Cause, I think Just Cause 2 and 3 were better. Killzone, Liberation, Superman Returns, oh god, Mother 3. Get a Mother 3 US release. I think Oblivion was the game of the year. Personally, however, I'm going to go with Sonic 06. I almost missed that. That's a great game. JK. I love Gears of War. But I don't think that's game of the year. Oh man. It's between Twilight Princess and Oblivion. You know what? I'll go Oblivion. Oblivion was a great game then. And I actually played it recently. I do like it more now than I used to. But I still, some of the problems I have still kind of stand. But whatever. Great game nonetheless. That will never let it down. BioShock. I played more Modern Warfare like crazy. Portal, I think my friend and I love Portal 2 better, but still a great game. Super Mario Galaxy, Uncharted, I think the later Uncharted's were better, actually. Still a great game though. Crysis, Assassin's Creed, The Witcher, Halo 3, ooh, Mass Effect, ooh, God of War 2, Ratchet & Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, Metroid Prime 3, Corruption, Phantom Hourglass. Love the Metroid games once again. The Darkness, Stalker, ooh, that's so good. Shivering Isles, Crash of the Titans, that's when freaking Crash was getting edgy. Weird games. Secret Rings was probably one of my personal most hated Sonic games, and now Forces has surpassed it. Spyro the Eternal Night. That was an interesting game. But I wouldn't say the greatest. Super Paper Mario. I don't know when Paper Mario started to get, you know, flack from the fan base for the most part. Beat the B movie, the game. Look, I love BioShock, but I didn't get into BioShock till later, and that was another game I wasn't a big fan of, but I acknowledge it's a fantastic game, and it did a lot for gaming. It's between Super Mario Galaxy and COD for me. Oh, and Mass Effect and Halo 3. Mass Effect has one of the best stories that year. Halo 3 has the best multiplayer that year. Even kind of over Modern Warfare. Kind of. Still really neck and neck there too, though. And then Modern Warfare just has a better story, honestly. Because they patched up some things of the story in my personal feelings. But still really good level design, and I have a lot of... I have a blast with Halo 3's campaign, nonetheless. They also sidetracked Arbiter, which... It's like, don't waste Keith David, come on, man. Keith David's freaking awesome. He's got an awesome freaking voice and everything. The guy's got charisma. He's freaking vice president in Saints Row. Back then, I would have chosen Modern Warfare or Mario Galaxy. Now, I think I'm going to go Mass Effect. I freaking love that game. I love the villain. I love the story. Freaking Rex was in it. That was the one that Rex was most prominent, and I love his character. Such a good game. Such good story and characters. And it, like, the later games, like, once you saw that the connection from the first game actually mattered and they connected your save to the later ones, it was such a unique thing to see, and I'm going to contribute that to when the other Mass Effects start coming into play here. And I wish more games would incorporate that, because it's such a unique feature that gave that game series so much weight and, like, emotion behind it. Alright, 2008, I have a friend I'm talking to recently who loves Sonic Unleashed. Grand Theft Auto 4, I feel like, is the one that a lot of people are going to say was the game of the year then. I love World at War. World at War is probably my personal favorite other than Modern Warfare 2. Like, such a good World at War game. Such a good COD in general. And doesn't it have Gary Oldman? I think that one has Gary Oldman, and then he went over to the Black Ops series, or at least his character. I can't remember. Great games too, Black Ops 1 and 2 especially. 3 was alright. Not a favorite though. Little Big Planet, I think the later Little Big Planet 2 and 3 had more content. I did really like them. Metal Gear Solid 4 was okay. It's still really good. But it got really convoluted. And I still needed to give some time to Metal Gear for it to kind of settle in and for me to, like, truly enjoy it. I still needed time with it because I couldn't get into it yet, and I really wanted to give it a chance, and I finally warmed up to it after a while. In general, Smash Brothers Brawl, Fallout 3. There are people who love Brawl though. I was just talking about that recently. Dead Space. Oh, freaking Dead Space is brilliant. People are picking on the story of that game. I love the story. I don't care. Like, that story is still great. Like, you remember Kendra, you remember freaking Mercer, that crazy maniac. He's at least a memorable villain. I don't remember the freaking villains of 2 and 3. And I think that, like, and of course Hammond, and it was just, like, it did a great job of, while it did have a lot of jump scares, it knew how to pace them out better and not use them too much. And the AI was actually kind of smart too, because, like, some of the aliens would kind of, the Necromorphs would kind of sneak up and be, like, a little bit sneaky and tippy-toe towards you. You wouldn't be able to hear them until you, like, saw them in your camera view, or they grabbed onto you. Then you'd freaking get a jump, but it felt like a natural jump scare that was, that didn't feel entirely programmed. Even though it is, it felt natural to the progression of the game. And its pacing, I love its pacing. I know that it does return you to some of the same areas, kind of like Halo 1 and such, but it does a great job in making it feel like there's a lot of variety to those locations. The bosses aren't amazing, but they're unique. They're at least something different. It does have typical, like, button masher. I do think the tentacle scenes where it grabs you and you aim awkwardly is weird, but, like, those are such nitpicks compared to everything else. Such a great game, and I love the plot twist. I don't care what people say about it. I didn't see it coming. And the effect it has on Isaac, this character that has no voice at first. I kind of hated when he started talking, because then it was actually freaking annoying and he wouldn't shut the hell up and he swore like a goddamn sailor. It was like, what is wrong with you? Just shut the frick up. But I still think Dead Space 2 is great. I just prefer Dead Space 1 personally. It may have some things it doesn't age well with. It does have turret sections too, which are kind of dumb, but they're so short and barely there that you just don't care or notice them entirely. because so much of the rest of the game, I love the atmosphere, lighting, and sound design. So great. And, man, I think the fact that I talked about it for so long probably puts it for my personal game of the year. Fallout 3, I did not like Fallout 3 when it first came out, but I played it more recently. I was like, this is actually really good. I actually have one of those Loot Crate figures now of Fox from Fallout 3 now. He's actually sitting over there to my left. And I love that game. So good. But I'm going to give it to Dead Space. Dead Space really stood out to me and was a game I even played recently. I'm on Impossible mode because, but if you don't know, I played that game like crazy that there was just one achievement I didn't get, and that was the beating the game on the hardest difficulty. I was right at the last level, and then I lost my progress, and that's when I had a lot of like just family issues in general going on then. So I didn't even have my Xbox that had the data. I wouldn't have even had the Xbox that had the save data on it anyways, because I would have lost that too. So I'm trying to work back up to that now. It's a pain in the ass, but I'm managing. So yeah, freaking love Dead Space. Such a freaking awesome game. I'm sorry if this video is so long. It probably is. But there's a lot to get through. You probably understand that. And then I'll get to 2022, what I think is the best. It's probably obvious, you know. Wink, wink. Alright, 2009. Oh, we got some heavy hitters here. Left 4 Dead 2. More content, Left 4 Dead. Still love it. Arkham Asylum, Modern Warfare 2, Uncharted 2. Such a great game. Assassin's Creed 2. I actually like Brotherhood a little bit more. The ending of 2 kind of pissed me off, but I still think it's a good game. Dragon Age Origins, that's a fantastic game. I'm actually going to be playing that again soon. I got freaking stuck for some reason in one part of it. I think something glitched out or whatever, but I hate the dream sequence stuff or whatever those sequences are. Where they're in that like maze-like realm. Resident Evil 5 was actually what really warmed me up to Resident Evil. I love 5. It's ridiculous. It feels like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, and I love that it's like Albert Wesker is like one of my favorite characters. Freaking DC Douglas. Also played Legion and Mass Effect. Such a good freaking game with great characters, and nobody's gonna forget and let Chris live it down with that boulder punching. Borderlands, I didn't become a big Borderlands fan until 2. I kind of got sick of the Super Mario Brothers Wii games and crap, and it kept getting ported over, and I'm like, kind of sick of it. Don't think it's a bad game series, I'm sick of it. I don't mind the Ratchet & Clank Future games. Crack in Time is alright. Halo Wars is alright. I think when Halo Reach and 4 came out was when Halo started to lose its edge, and it relied on certain tropes I didn't like of that shooters would take on, like the invisible kill wall and crap. And then there was just the fact that the games expected you to know the lore, and even got rid of playable Sengeli later. Needed you to know the lore from the books, and it's like, really? I think that really hit harder with 5, though. So, yeah. I have Wolfenstein 2009, actually. Weird game. Interesting, but weird. Wouldn't be a game of the year, though. Batman Arkham Asylum. Man, it's sad Kevin Conroy passed away. It's like, I grew up with the animated series. I freaking love Kevin Conroy. So sad. And I need to make like a dedication video. It's probably going to be a late video, but yeah, that freaking sucks. And I can't wait to play Suicide Squad just to see his last performance, sadly. Yeah, but Arkham Asylum is a great game. I liked Arkham City, and I even really like Arkham Knight better. Like, those are actually really good. Who am I gonna go with this? I think Dragon Age Origins deserves to be Game of that year. But man, these other games are such big deals too. Resident Evil 5 is like one of the best co-op games too, co-op experiences. I think I'm gonna go with Modern Warfare 2. That game's freaking awesome. I can't believe I'm going with a COD game. No, I think it's really good though. But yeah, COD for the win. Let's go 2010. We're getting there. Like frickin', how many frickin' 12 years? We're gonna be here 12 years is what I'm saying. Oh, Mass Effect 2 and Red Dead Redemption, you already hit me with those two. And we got StarCraft 2. Black Ops 1, freaking great. I love Brotherhood, like I said, my personal favorite. Halo Reach is still really good. I actually prefer Bioshock 2 over 1, but I acknowledge that 1 has a better story and even plot twist, even though it feels weak after you kill Ryan, because it's like the final boss was kind of underwhelming. Limbo, New Vegas, I actually prefer 3 and 4 now. New Vegas is still really good and has probably one of the best stories, but I prefer 3 and 4 now that I've played them more and gotten to know them better. And I don't think I hated New Vegas originally, so it was mostly just because of the character models and like just how ugly the game kind of looked to me. I just didn't care. And I guess I just didn't care for the change then, but I love it more now. Splinter Cell Conviction. That's a black sheep of the family, but I still really have fun with it, and I have played it still from time to time. Super Street Fighter 4, that's probably one of my favorite Street Fighters. Personally. Fable 3, underrated Fable, honestly. I'm just a big sucker for Fable games, but I don't think it's that bad. There's some interesting things here and there, but I do think it is a weak Fable game, and that Peter Molyneux is a bit cocky. Metal Gear Peace Walker, and Metroid Other M. I actually don't mind Metroid Other M. Amnesia was the birth of many big YouTubers. Xenoblade Chronicles, such a freaking awesome game. I'm going to be playing that too. Darksiders, wasn't a big fan of that until 2. And 3, I just don't know how to feel about 3. Oh, War for Cybertron. Freaking love that game. It's like Gears of War Transformers. Metro 2033. Oh, I love Metro. I think I like the sequel better, Last Light, but man, 2033 is still really good. Got a great story and characters. I love the endings. I think there's only 2 though, but still, it's like, love the frickin' game. Doesn't change that part of it. But you have Mass Effect 2 and Red Dead 2, 1, sorry. This is what it comes down to for me personally. I think that Red Dead... Oh, and Mario Galaxy 2, that has Yoshi, and I love Yoshi. No, it's gotta be one of these two, and I'm going Mass Effect 2. I love Mass Effect 2, it's freaking awesome, one of the best games of all time, and just my personal opinion. Love it. And Red Dead, man, Red Dead made my grandmother cry. Freaking, like, that's such an emotional game. I think that is truly the game that deserved Game of the Year, just because it actually got my grandmother emotional over it, and when a certain character passes in it. Like, such a good game. And I'm going to be playing it soon, too, because I re-downloaded it, and I re-downloaded the second one, and I'm going to be like, I haven't played this in a bit, so I'm going to replay the story. I can't wait to do this again. See if I still feel the same way. I'm pretty sure I do, because that game was so effective with its story. I love the, it's so far away, when you're traveling to Mexico. Such a freaking emotional part, too. Just the music there. But Mass Effect 2 is my personal. That is such a good story. They did so much better with the characters and the development. The romances are great. Freaking awesome ass game. Love it. Love it. Move on to 2011. And we got... Oh, Skyrim might win this one, but Arkham City. I love Arkham City. I've already talked about that. That was great. Uncharted 3 is great, but I felt like it was a step just a little bit of a step backwards from 2, but still great. Modern Warfare 3, I didn't hate Modern Warfare 3, but it was kind of at that time where it was like, okay, can we have something different, please? Stop making Modern Warfare now. It was just a game that I was kind of like, I'm done with this. I love Skyward Sword. I think that's actually a great game, even if Aaron hates it. I still really like it, and I need to get the HD version on the Switch, but man, I still love it. Deus Ex Human Revolution, one of the best. I actually prefer Mankind Divided more now. Replaying that game recently has opened up like a new love for that game. I'm surprised by. Dead Space 2, great game. Oh, Dark Souls. Frickin' the memories with Dark Souls. I had so many memories with my friends and doing PvP and all that crap. Dark Souls 2 we mostly did that with, but Dark Souls 1 is just iconic and has so many great set pieces. Speaking of which, 2009, where the frick did Demon Souls go? I didn't even see that, but just know that Demon Souls is frickin' awesome too. Gears of War 3, that was my personal favorite Gears. That's when Gears 2 was really where the story started to hit hard with the feels, but 3 was like frickin' Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us, Mass Effect. Like, it hit with the feels. Like, I loved that game with Dom's, spoiler, Dom dies, and his father dies. It's so frickin' emotional. And the music too, jeez. Mortal Kombat 9, great game. Crysis 2, like, I played that a while back, and I was like, I don't like the city setting of this game. I prefer the jungle setting in the first one. I actually like the first one's story, too. I think they're going somewhere interesting with the story, but I just don't like it as much as the first game. Something about the setting I didn't like as much. I didn't have as much fun. Infamous 2 is great. Witcher 2, this is where Witcher really started to hit hard with people, but it was Witcher 3 that really popularized the series and really opened people's eyes to it more. But I've been playing that. It's still a bit jank with its controls, but I don't mind it. Also, the camera is still at least zoomed out enough that you can see your surroundings. And I think it actually zoomed out a little bit more when you're in combat, so you can see a little bit more. Unlike some games now that like to apparently look at the back of a bald character's head like it's Hitman Absolution after Hitman Absolution. And even I think Hitman Absolution knew how to use the camera, but still, like, why is it always bald characters in games? Like Kratos, frickin' that camera angle was really close to him, and then frickin' Callisto Protocol, he was bald in that eventually, and it was like, look at the back of her head where Zack Snydering this, where we think, oh, this is so beautiful. We think we're so artistic and great with things, and yes, it's good looking, but fix everything else. The camera's too freaking close. Minecraft, I still play it today, so who doesn't love Minecraft? There's probably some people annoyed by it, but it's still a great game with tons of possibilities to this blocky game that still frickin' is played by so many today. It's just so much. Revelations of Assassin's Creed wasn't bad. Sonic Generations is great. Dragon Age 2 was a mess. Bulletstorm was okay. I wasn't a giant fan of it, but it's okay. Terraria, Duke Nukem Forever is probably the worst game of the year. DC Universe Online, Resistance 3, yeah, I don't care about Dead Island. I wasn't a big fan. Super Mario 3D Land was okay. Rayman Origins, great. Little Big Planet 2, great. Bastion, Battlefield 3, love Battlefield 3. I think Bad Company 2 is better. Speaking of which, where the frick was that? Just know that I love that game. But it probably wouldn't have made Game of the Year, whatever year it came out. Because it probably would have been beaten by something bigger than it. So it's between Dark Souls 1 and Skyrim for me. I love Arkham City, but Skyrim, I still play Skyrim, and I still play Dark Souls. I actually played both of them recently, and I have recording footage of it too, because it was like, I feel like playing these. I think I'm gonna go Skyrim just because uh, just the possibilities of that game is freaking awesome and unlimited almost. Dark Souls 1 is still really, really good though, and it's like right on its tail, but goddamn Skyrim, like I'm never gonna forget my experiences in that, and I'm very satisfied with my character in that game too. 2012. Let's try getting this moving along. So we got Mass Effect 3. Besides the ending, I never got Salt Factory's video because it's like, why did you think it was bad in the first place when really the only big problem, and like even glitch wise it wasn't nearly as bad as other games glitch wise. um like, why did you think it was bad to say it was bad in the first place? Like, it's still got really good story. It's actually become my personal favorite. I think 2 is the best Mass Effect, but 3 has become my personal favorite, and man, the feels of that one especially freaking hit hard. Like, that game punches you in the gut. Characters are going to die either way, and there's not much you can do about it sometimes. You have choices, and man, do they matter, but oh, so sad. Such a sad experience, but in a good way. Halo 4, I enjoyed what it was trying to do with the campaign and story, but it has a lot of problems, especially with the multiplayer. Far Cry 3, great game. Where was 2, by the way? Where the frick did that go? That was a great game too, and very unique for what it's trying to do. Um, Journey, such a cutesy game. I love it's such a little cute little adventure game. I actually kind of like the first season of The Walking Dead Telltale, but I'm not a big fan of Walking Dead in general. Dishonored, I wasn't a big fan, but I understand it's the love for it, and it is very much like the Thief games. It's kind of takes a lot of inspiration, but then Dishonored started to go downhill, and even Thief had a terrible recent game in, I think, 2014. Um, I'm gonna go. Diablo 3 was a mess at launch, but it got better later. Assassin's Creed 3 has an annoying protagonist, but I do like the villain. The villain has a point, and it's actually cool. Black Ops 2, great game. Darksiders 2, better than the first in my opinion. Black Mesa, I think that's the remake, kind of, something like that. Sleeping Dogs, I actually reinstalled that recently because I want to play through it some more. Hitman Absolution, Fall, Cybertron. I love those Transformer games. Never freaking push those games aside. They're freaking awesome, and they're so rare to get your hands on now. When it comes to, I'm glad I own 360 physical copies. But man, I wish they would come back on the store. That is. Resident Evil 6 was probably one of the worst games that year, but I ironically like it. And I'm playing Kingdoms of Amalur recently because I have the Mass Effect gear and I've been really getting into it. I'm giving a lot of games room. I like Dear Esther was interesting. I actually like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Forza Horizon. Love the Horizon series over the motorsport games. It's just me though. Zombie U, I kind of dig. Yeah, Mass Effect 3 is mine. That's the one I'm going with. I love freaking Mass Effect 3. It was a freaking awesome game. Ooh, we got 2013 with Last of Us. Last of Us might already win, but I acknowledge that people absolutely freaking love Bioshock Infinite and Grand Theft Auto 5, especially 5. That game's still played today. I saw my friends playing it recently. A lot of my friends do. But I might already go with The Last of Us. That is such a good game. I like Link Between Worlds, Stanley Parable, Saints Row 4. Oh, Metro Last Light. Oh, frick. Freaking love that game. Last of Us or Metro Blast Light. Those are such good games. I don't know which one to go with. Battlefield 4 was a game that needed to cook in the oven a little longer. I liked Blacklist, but I didn't care for the actor swap of Sam Fisher, but I understand why they did it. I just wish they would build the game around a different main character, kind of like what Critical Nobody said. Um, DMC, not in a million years. And then they did recently with the freaking latest one. Super Mario 3D World. Pikmin 3, it's getting a 4th game now. Yeah. Dead Space 3, I actually do like Dead Space 3. It's still really fun. I just don't like the greedy practices EA had. But yeah, Ghosts was a freaking mess. I'm not a Dota fan, so I can't speak for that one. Oh, Dead Rising 3, meh. God of War Ascension, I actually kind of like God of War Ascension. There's Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn, that's much more loved now. And it deserves that, definitely. I actually like Arkham Origins. Payday 2 is great. They're getting a new Payday now. It's fantastic for people who love it, and I might play it myself. I think Rise of Son of Rome is the worst game of that year, because that game was just very generic. Maybe it isn't, but that's the one I didn't like that year. Crisis 3 was great. Did it come out this year? I don't know. I thought that was 2014. Huh. And I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. That is a really good game. I'm going to go with The Last of Us. I love Metro Last Light. That is really close to beating it, but goddamn, Last of Us hits me in the feels. My grandmother sadly couldn't see the rest of that game. She probably would have been hit in the feels too. She would have felt the same way I did with it. But man, such a great experience, and then they killed it with the sequel. And then they made another freaking remaster, and I'm just like, oh, come off it. This is gonna release as many times as freaking Skyrim. And I still like Skyrim, and I still like Last of Us. Just stop it, please, both of you. You need to take a time out. Alright, why does Dark Souls 2 have Artorias of the Abyss for the cover with the what? Anyways, 2014, we got Dark Souls 2 at the top. Dragon Age Inquisition, that is actually a good game. I think it takes the good of both previous Dragon Ages and really finds a way to balance it in a way that everybody probably loves. Good game. Don't know if I would say it's better than Origins, but still really good. South Park Stick of Truth, Bayonetta 2. I wasn't a big Bayonetta fan, and I still kinda ain't, but maybe I'll give it a shot. I do own a couple of them. I think I own 1 and 2. I'd have to double check on that though. But I'll give it a chance. Far Cry 4 was alright, but I kinda like it less now. Yeah, but still not a bad game. Shadow of Mordor, I like the sequel more, but I think the first one is really good. Destiny, I hate Destiny, but like I've warmed up to Destiny a little bit more. Probably mostly 2 though. I still hate the story of 1. Titanfall, I'm trying to get rid of my copy of Titanfall just because like that's barely a game. Same with Evolve when I get to that. Wolfenstein New Order, I don't know. I didn't mind the new direction it took, and then Wolfenstein with Youngblood and all that just started to be like, okay, this is stupid now. I think I like Old Blood the best. That was like my personal favorite. I love how ridiculous that one was. Advanced Warfare, Y, Shovel Knight, and Child of Light, great games. Infamous Second Son, my grandmother loved that game. She would watch the cutscenes as if it was like watching a favorite TV show of hers. Like, she had fun with that. She loved watching me play it too. Watch Dogs is actually kind of better now, but still conflicted on it. It's still like a 7 out of 10 game for me. Because you can pull off some really cool, like, almost John Wick moves in that game. I've seen some crazy stuff people can pull. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, great game. Master Chief Collection needed some time to bake in the oven. Why was Ground Zeroes a thing? Oh wait, they wanted you to pay for a $30 demo. I was one of the dumbasses that did that too, where I bought it and I was super disappointed and mad. Whoops. What the frick? I was really mad though. Divinity Original Sin, I actually like the second better. Same with Evil Within. I actually did not like Evil Within 1. It pissed me off. It had camera problems, and then even when they got rid of the black bars, they had the weird cutoff where the black bars used to be when you have blood spatters on the screen. It was just weird, and the blood looked like jam. It was weird too. And I hated the freaking hub area because they'd always force you to try and figure out like a story related thing that you had to activate there, and then it was just so slow opening doors, and walking around there was awkward. The camera got even closer to the back of your freaking head. It wasn't even scary, and a lot of levels were in broad daylight even. It's like, how am I supposed to be scared with this? um I think because, like, the funny thing is I wouldn't hate Callisto Protocol as much as Evil Within is the ironic part. That's the funny part. It took an asshole on YouTube to make me kind of not like it more, give me more of a sour taste towards it just because of one person that's just being a real sour puss about it. More like pussy. No. No. Ollie Ollie. There's Forza Horizon 2. Love it. Little Big Planet 3. Smite. I grew out of Smite. Mario Kart 8. Love Mario Kart 8. Thief was garbage. Hate that frickin' game. It was glitchy as hell, and the performance issues, I still have issues with it from time to time. And Kirby Triple Deluxe. Is that it? Okay. What would I go? What would I go with? Dark Souls 2, funny enough. It's between Dragon Age Inquisition and Dark Souls 2. I think Dragon Age is the better game. Well, Dark Souls 2 is the one I played the most. I still play it from time to time, and I loved it, and I had a lot of fun times with my friends. And I'm planning on getting my other friends into it. So, there you go. That's my game. So, Dark Souls did win one. Let's go to 2000. Whoops, I went backwards on accident. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys can hear me fine. I hope the video is still running for you. Let me just double check. No, I didn't want to take a picture. Okay, this still says on the air, but you never know. They could have kicked me out. Okay, this was a decent year. Witcher 3. I actually wasn't as big on Witcher 3. I had to kind of grow into liking Witcher 3 later. I got really sick and nauseous with the Witcher vision, and then the movement was really awkward in the game still. The sword fighting the combat was really simple, and once you had like the best weaponry, it kind of felt even just simpler, if that makes any sense. Because you could practically destroy everything, and without much effort. And I hated like you trying to interact with things and then you light a candle or something. That was annoying. But I still think it's really good. It is really good, and it deserved the Game of the Year. I gave Fallout 4 my Game of the Year because it was kind of like Skyrim for me, where I just played it a lot and I used mods and I just fooled around with the game. I found a lot of the characters and even, and it's not a good RPG, but it was a really fun game. It was really good, and it had a lot to experiment around with, and I loved exploring. Bloodborne is freaking brilliant. I think that game is freaking awesome. That's actually hard. It's between Bloodborne and Fallout 4, and I love Metal Gear Solid 5 as well as Batman Arkham Knight, but man, it's between Fallout 4 and Bloodborne for me. And I would give it to Fallout 4. I still play Fallout 4 now, but man, other than the 30 frames thing, Bloodborne's just so artistic and unique, and there's just something about its gameplay. I love its aggressive gameplay, and it's actually the one I like the gameplay to the most. It's the one that addicts me the most. I'm addicted to the most, and it's the one that I actually really want a sequel or just more content for a reason to come back. And I've discovered new things playing it again, just like Fallout 4 too. But man, there's just something so unique about it, and at the same time, I don't want a sequel because I feel like it would ruin the majesty of that game. Something about it just gets me. I don't know how to describe it. It could be the atmosphere, it could be the setting. It's the first game that does Lovecraft really well, and it's not even like really set in his universe yet. You can tell it's got Lovecraft inspiration everywhere, and it's freaking awesome. I love it. Oh, Halo 5 was definitely the worst game this year. Oh, Battlefront's pretty bad though too. Black Ops 3. Once again, what I previously said about it. Oh, the Order 1886. That's the game I compared Callisto Protocol to, and honestly, it's a shorter game. The Callisto Protocol is a longer game that's going to torture you. I hate both equally now, but I think because the Order only recycled the same boss twice and is a shorter game in general, makes it slightly more tolerable than Callisto, where Callisto is a lot longer, less tolerable, and recycles the bosses even more. Pillars of Eternity, Rainbow Six Siege, Mad Max, Just Cause 3. I wasn't a big fan of Life is Strange. I actually like Shammy's take on Life is Strange. I agree with that. There's Scalded for Sin. Axiom Verge is great. I'm gonna go Bloodborne. I would go Fallout 4, but I'm going Bloodborne. Great game. Freaking awesome game. 2016. We got Dark Souls 3, Overwatch. Like, looking back, I did like Overwatch and I was addicted to it back then, but now it hasn't. That Game Award it got doesn't aged well. Looking back, I'm kind of like, you know what? Uncharted 4 or Dark Souls 3 probably should have got it. It's a fun game then, but then they screwed it up in so many ways later, and the sequel doesn't frickin' help. I don't even think you can play the first one anymore, sadly. I think Dark Souls 3 is immediate. I think this is when games started to really go downhill. There's still some good ones, like Hitman 2016. I hate the names of games too, like Doom 2016. You have to classify them by their year then. So many games started doing that, and I hated it. Oh, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, though. It's freaking actually a really genuinely good game. Watch Dogs 2 is alright. Persona 5 is great. Oh, that's another good one. I know a lot of people love Pokemon Go, but... Pokemon Go? Here, Sal. No. Quantum Break is probably the worst game that year. That was just such a generic game. I love the actor, the dude who plays Iceman in the X-Men movies, but... Man, it was just... It had other great actors, too. Like, man, it's such a waste of potential. No Man's Sky didn't get better until later. Hyper Light Drifter's great. XCOM 2 is fantastic. I love Titanfall 2 also. And Final Fantasy 15's mixed. I don't know how to feel about it. Battlefield 1 is okay. I like Titanfall 2 better. Last Guardian was alright. It's cutesy, but I wouldn't call it the best of those. Like if I'm choosing between Ico, Shadow Colossus, and Last Guardian, I probably would go with the other two more so. Just because there's such unique artistic experiences that hit me hard. Mostly Shadow the Colossus, but yeah, freaking love them. I think I'm gonna go with Dark Souls 3. Let me just look through here. I love Doom 2016. That's freaking good. I don't like the Ratchet & Clank reboot. It's not a bad game. It's when it gets to the story stuff and the way they treat the character development is actually awful. And using cutscenes from the movie, I got copyright claimed once from that, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to frickin' be careful with this now. Don't want to get a frickin' strike. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's between Uncharted 4 and 3, but I think 3 is the one I played the most, but Uncharted 4 was really good. I even had a friend who was a big, like, Uncharted fan YouTuber, and he had, like, an entire Uncharted dedicated YouTube channel, which sadly I don't know if he does anymore. And, I miss that guy, honestly. Like, it's kind of sad, but, like, I hope he's doing well, and I hope he's found stuff that he really enjoys or is invested in and has a good life. I just hope the best for him. I don't know what else to say. I'm very awkward in general. So, sorry. Firewatch and Inside are alright. Yeah, it's Dark Souls 3. It's Dark Souls 3. I freaking, like, I still play that game today. I got the collector's edition. As a matter of fact, the freaking Soul Cinder dude, or the Red Knight as they advertised him originally, I have the statue right in front of me. I actually have the pop figure over to my left, too. Wherever it is, over to my left somewhere. 2017. We're almost done, boys. Breath of the Wild already wins. That game was just like everything that was already said about it. It's just such a fantastic game. There's just too much to talk about it. I felt like my review was really underwhelming when I made it, and I actually hate my review of it because I felt like there was so much more I could do, and I was actually kind of nervous and awkward with it too then. So, like, if I had to say anything, it's an open world that made me appreciate open world games and a new way it iterated while also innovating. I loved the different abilities and how you could utilize the open world as your weapon too. So fun to explore. The collectibles felt like something you didn't need to collect, but you kind of felt like because of how much you loved and got invested in that world and game, you didn't mind doing the collective fun stuff. And they actually kind of had their own little puzzles and stuff. It was just such a great game to explore, and it's got a great art style that I love too. Love cel-shaded art. Such a good game, and I really look forward to the sequel. Tears of the Kingdom, I think it's called. Super Mario Odyssey. Where's 2? That was a really good game too, by the way. That was a freaking beautiful game, and I loved it. Excuse me. Kind of the same feelings as I have with Zelda, except Zelda hits hard. That goddamn, I love it. Like, and they're actually doing some big things with the story. Like, I can't wait to see more of what they do with the story too. There's some big deal like things going on. Like, is this the end of Ganon? Is Ganon no longer going to be a villain, or are we just going to see different timeline versions now? Is this the end of all the timelines coming together? What is going on here? It's very interesting. Horizon Zero Dawn was alright, and it was honestly robbed somewhat to an extent this year, but I don't know, I just couldn't get into either of them. They had the typical Ubisoft tropey open world of collectathon stuff, and I just wasn't as invested in the characters and story and lore. It's good, it is really good games, I just not as invested in it as I would have been, and by that point I was just bored of those kind of games that took control away from the players, had tons of exposition filled cutscenes. I just got really tired of it. It didn't do what Breath of the Wild or Elden Ring did. Man, felt like there was more cutscene and trying hard to be a movie than there was game sometimes, and I just got bored. I don't know what to say. I do kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn more, only because it's the first one, where the second one doesn't do enough to really change it up or like do anything spectacular that makes me go, wow, this is even better. Like, it doesn't do that for me, and I'm kind of sad it doesn't. And it kind of got screwed over because it's like you're competing with God of War Ragnarok, and even Sony screwed over Horizon. That's funny to think about. In Elden Ring, like, that's funny. That sucks though, but it's funny. Cuphead, Resident Evil 7, Biohazard. I like 7. It did play to the tropes of the other Resident Evils, but I think it was much more self-aware of that. Village did have some good story elements. It's just, it wasn't scary enough, and most of it took place in broad daylight, and it was like, eh. But it was still fun. I thought it was fun. Like, the gameplay was still fun. had tropes, but it was fun where it mattered. And it felt like Bloodborne if it was Resident Evil. But, yeah, I didn't mind it. But I don't know. I'll have to see when I come up to that if that's like Game of the Year for me or not. I'd have to think about that. Destiny 2, that got better later. Night in the Woods, that's a pretty good game. Uncharted Lost Legacy, I haven't played that actually, but I hear it's good. Don't care about Wolfenstein 2. Prey I love Prey. Assassin's Creed Origins, oh, I love Origins. Neo, I was very conflicted on. I don't hate it. I think it's an 8 out of 10 game, but I'm still, like, I wouldn't put it over the other Souls games. Even the bad ones. Or at least the ones people think are bad, like Dark Souls 2. Divinity Original Sin 2, ooh, that game's freaking awesome. Sonic Mania, love it. Mario plus Rabbids, great. Hollow Knight, fantastic. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, freaking awesome. Mass Effect Andromeda is probably worst game of that year. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, I don't count remakes, mostly because, it's of an older game, but with better graphics for the most part. Well, not always, but still, like, there's still a familiarity to it that, like, I'm not gonna make it Game of the Year, but it might win some awards, like Resident Evil 2 Remake, or whatever. I was very close with the remake of the first one, but that's because the first one felt so different a game, and it was so good. It actually really improved on the original. World War II is meh of the COD series. Evil Within 2 is actually underrated. I love that game. I'm so sad that like the sequel it was so great, but it didn't do well sales-wise. Ghost Recon got really boring after a while. Advanced Warfighter was where it was at. I even kind of like Future Soldier better. Dragon Quest XI. I didn't get to beat it yet. I was just playing it before it was removed from Game Pass. But I kind of enjoyed what I played. For Honor, that's fun, and I can't believe it's gone on for so long, but I'm kind of iffy about Ubisoft right now. Like, I gave up on Ubisoft and made a video about them a while back because I don't want to associate with a game company like that. And I don't like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I want to take back my ukulele review. I actually hate my review of that and regret it. That game went like that kind of reminded me of Outer Worlds, where it's like I loved Outer Worlds so much. It was nostalgic to me as kind of like a Fallout / even kind of Mass Effect element feeling to it. That it hit me in the nostalgia, but after I came back to it every time after, like, it went from a 9 to an 8 out of 10 to a 7, I just was like, if I play this anymore, it's just gonna keep going lower, isn't it? Or it's maybe just gonna stay right there forever. And that was the same way Ukulele kind of went with me, where it was like, it hit me in this nostalgia, and then I just didn't like it more. I think I need to give it more time. I think a lot of games I want to give more time. Some games are kind of obvious, though, like games like Drake and the 99 Dragons, Ride to Hell, Retribution stuff. That stuff's obvious, that's bad. Even Cyberpunk 2077, I think presentation-wise, it does a great job, but like it's a fake freaking RPG, and it does so many other things terribly that beat 'em ups has already gone so in depth with that I still think hold up today, the things he said. And of course, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's my winner. Oh man, it's 3 a.m. I better hurry. Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War, Spider-Man, PS4, Smash Brothers Ultimate. People don't even talk about that anymore. Odyssey pissed me off. That game was so grindy. Monster Hunter World, Far Cry 5, meh. It's an okay game. It was fun for a while. Ni no Kuni 2. Love the Ni no Kuni games. I gotta play those more. Hitman 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance is freaking awesome. It's a hard game to get into, but it's worth it when you can. If you get into it enough. It's not going to be for everyone, though. Mega Man 11 was cool. Oh, I should have made Original Sin 2 the winner. Oh, whatever. Original Sin 2 is freaking awesome. Fallout 76, God. So it's saying that Divinity came out this year too. I like Spider-Man PS4, but I did get kind of tired after a while. I did platinum it. I love it, just like Horizon Zero Dawn. And I platinumed Bloodborne as well. I mostly got most of the achievements in platinum, depending on what console version I completed at the time of all of the Souls games except Sekiro, if you want to count that as a Souls-like. It kind of is, though. Or one of those. Whatever. God of War is great, but it did not hit me emotionally. I know that Red Dead 2 doesn't age well with what Nikki Jakey brought up about some of the structure of the story missions, but man, that game hit me in the feels. I still have a lot of fun with it. I actually downloaded it as well, like I said earlier. Again, I think Red Dead 2 is my favorite. I love the music. It hit me in the freaking feels. Arthur almost, like, this game almost became better than the first game. It was so good with its story and characters. Oh man, it hits hard. It's a long ass game and it does drag, but man, it's freaking worth it in the end. Such a freaking emotional roller coaster. I should make a video on like what the saddest games can be that you can play that would make you freaking cry your eyes out if you played them like literally right next to each other in the same day or something. If that was possible. There's Outer Worlds, already talked about it. Resident Evil 2. I talked about that already a little bit with what I feel on, I'm not a big Devil May Cry fan, but 5 was great. Death Stranding I actually really like. It's more of a jogging simulator than a jogging mailman simulator, but it's still got a lot of people probably didn't care for it. And I understand. Sekiro, I actually have a hard time trying to get into Sekiro, and I haven't beaten the last boss yet because I'm just like, I just don't get these controls. And I do love, I think Fire Emblem Three Houses, that's a game a lot of people love. My friends love that. I haven't played it though. Control, that's actually pretty good. Luigi's Mansion 3, I do really enjoy that. Mortal Kombat 11's cool, but it has some issues here and there. Apex Legends was great at first, but then I got sick of it. Disco Elysium, Metro Exodus was a game I had an opposite effect where I didn't like it as much at first, and the Epic Game Store controversy stuff going on, and then the more I came back to that game, the more I actually loved it. It was like the opposite effect from Outer Worlds, which I think came out the same year. Yeah. So, Kingdom Hearts 3, I have some problems, but it's okay. Borderlands 3 would probably be the same. It's an okay game, but I have some problems. Very minor, though. Division 2, Metro Exodus. Division 2, like, kind of grew on me after a while, but, like, my hands freaking hurt like hell whenever I play that game for some reason. Metro, I already said that one. Plague Tale Innocence, great game. I can't wait to start playing the other one. Days Gone, I actually thought it wasn't that bad, but it still kind of set me in that mood where I was like kind of bored of it, but I wanted to give it a chance anyway. Anthem, that's probably the worst game of the year. Rage 2 I was very disappointed in, and honestly I don't know why. I think it just looked really cool stylistically and I was kind of hyped for it. Mario Maker 2, that's freaking awesome. Link's Awakening, oh, that's so good, that remake. But I will never make a remake. I think Sekiro was the winner. Sekiro or Metro Exodus, it's between those two. Yeah, those two are really good. I love both those games. But I think I'll go Sekiro. It stuck with me more. Man, that's a hard one though. I do really like Exodus, and Exodus like grows more and more on me the more I come back to it. So I'll have to think about it. I gotta play Sekiro recently anyways, so I'll give it a chance. But for right now, I do agree Sekiro deserves that game of the year. Sorry if I've been breathing into the mic, because I'm a dumbass. Last of Us Part 2. If there was any game of the year that felt rigged, it was when Last of Us Part 2 won. Like, that actually felt rigged, because it was literally winning everything. Even Doom Eternal didn't win a single freaking thing. Ori and the Will of the Wisp. Where was Blind Forest? What? Animal Crossing New Horizons. Frickin' played the hell out of that game. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'll never put a remake, but I thought I enjoyed it. Doom Eternal, love Doom Eternal. Half-Life Alyx was freaking awesome. Like, I can't believe they came out with that. Ghost of Tsushima was my game of the year, but I didn't complete it, which is the funny part. I already talked about Cyberpunk 2077. Disaster. Still don't like it. Still think it's garbage. Miles Morales I haven't beaten, but I think it's alright game. I just haven't beaten it yet. Valhalla is alright. I want to play the remake of Demon's Souls. I'm kind of sick of seeing Fall Guys now. Crash Bandicoot 4, I do like Crash Bandicoot 4. Dreams was interesting. Marvel's Avengers was a joke. I frickin' at first I was willing to give Genshin Impact a chance, and then like, first off, why was it in Player Choice at Game Awards? Like what? And second off, it's so greedy, and there's so many other games you could that were better that freaking year too. Any year that it came out, Genshin Impact just was a game I got really sick of, and it represents everything evil in gaming. Just frickin' don't care for it. I haven't played Sackboy. Watch Dogs Legion was a mess. That was another disaster of the year. I actually really liked Immortal Phoenix Rising, and Snacks was pretty cool. I've been meaning to play that more. It's on Xbox now too. Between Doom Eternal and Immortal. That's a Ubisoft game, and I don't care for Ubisoft, but I really liked Immortal. It was very Zelda, but man, it was still really fun. I loved its humor, its style. I love the art design, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was an open world I could tolerate. Yeah, I love it. I think I'll go with Immortal. Just know that Doom Eternal and frickin' Animal Crossing were really close, though. I frickin' love those games, and either one of those could have won. Mostly Doom Eternal, because that frickin' game. I still listen to the music in that game, and I actually prefer it kind of over the 2016 soundtrack. I just wish they didn't screw over frickin' Mick Gordon so much with everything's going on recently, and putting rap music that was out of place in the trailers. It felt like a mockery to him. I was like, why? Alright, Halo Infinite got barely any content as it kept going, and now I'm not even sure where the local co-op lies. So, at first I loved it. Now it's kind of had the Outer Worlds effect for me, where it just went downhill over time. Forza's just another game. The Forza games I'm kind of getting sick of them now. Deathloop was not a great game. I actually got to play it on Game Pass, and I just don't care for it. I don't like its style. The characters aren't very memorable. The gameplay is alright. It's not a bad game, but the gameplay is nothing special either. It's like a very forgettable game, and the levels just like, I wish there were more levels. Psychonauts 2 was great. I know a lot of people think it's ugly. Those games are ugly, but I like it stylistically, and I like the story and characters and the humor. Metro Dread, oh, that's probably Game of the Year. Returnal was very interesting. That has the Diana actress, too, from Hitman. I didn't know that until I looked it up. That's pretty cool. It Takes Two was a fun experience. I had a lot of fun with that, playing with my friend. Love the puzzles in that. And that deserved Game of the Year, honestly. Resident Evil Village hasn't aged well with me. That's kind of the same with Outer Worlds, where it's like, at first I really liked it, and then it just like started going down. It went down to a 7 out of 10, and I think it's stuck there now for me. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm playing that, and I think Rift Apart looks great too. I haven't played it yet, but Bowser's Fury stuff added to 3D World. Monster Hunter Rise is great. Hitman 3 was great, except VR was kind of a mess at first. Love Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but once again, it's a remaster / remake or whatever, so I'm not counting it. Tales of Arise, I still want to play that so badly. I was like, I hope it goes on sale again, because I'm going to frickin' pick that up. The Medium was a disappointment. So glad there's a new Age of Empires 4, Outriders was a freaking disappointment. A lot of these games I don't give a crap about. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is great. Far Cry 6 was freaking disappointing. Little Nightmares 2, Guilty Gear Strive, I can't remember much about that, but I played the beta and my friend owns it, but I haven't dabbled around playing it much. Back 4 Blood was freaking disappointing. Life is Strange, I don't care. You kind of see what's going on though too. Like a lot of these games, I'm starting to either be like I don't care, they're a disappointment. But yeah, I think like later they started really hitting hard with like disappointments and stuff. I think I'm gonna go with. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's actually great. Metroid Dread. Metroid Dread's freaking awesome. It's such a good game, and they add a lot to the lore. Crap like that. It's freaking awesome. Fun game. Brings memories of older Metroids, but done really good. I just want 2002. So get rid of that. What the frick? There we go. Finally, 2022. I've already talked about Horizon Forbidden West. I'm just kind of bored. Same with God of War Ragnarok. I think they're great games, especially God of War Ragnarok, but I'm just kind of tired of the overly cinematic, exposition-filled, trying to be a movie, taking control away the player with open-world collectathon nonsense. I'm just sick of those games. There's only some games I can tolerate with that stuff, and Elden Ring was one of them, because it iterated while also innovating. And it's kind of like my description of when I talk about Sam Raimi perfecting his movies, like learning from his previous movie, like Evil Dead 1 and Spider-Man 1, where it's like he took all the flaws out that he realized in the first of those movies and improved on them while playing to his strengths more in the sequel. And that's how I feel Elden Ring came across. They took all the good of the previous games. It still has some flaws, but they're so minor compared to how brilliant everything else is. And once again, to answer the question, when it comes to the dodge hit, people calling Souls games a dodge simulator slash hit simulator compared to like Callisto Protocol, for example. The reason that doesn't work is there's more strategy, way more possibilities to something like Elden Ring, because you have so much to work with on the same level as Breath of the Wild, where you can use once again the environment and your special abilities and stuff, or different abilities that your sword has, or the what are those freaking things called, the ashes of war that you attach, and what those add to them too, and all the different spells and pyromancies you can mess with, the different ways you can play from horseback or not, all the controls and such that they taken, and all the good they taken from the previous games like Sekiro, Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and fused into this game, added with its own stuff and its own unique open world. The fact that you can skip entire locations and do the direction of the game, you can do it in whatever order you want, you choose, and the fact that there's still stuff I'm discovering and really enjoying about this game series. It's just, and I love its armor sets and weapons and the weapon arts and stuff. There's just a lot to it to unpack. In something like Callisto Protocol, you get a baton, a electric baton, and it's like literally like even upgraded, it's the only weapon you use. It kind of gets boring after a while. A lot of things kind of take that repetitive, you're going to be doing the same goddamn thing. And I know you can, you can shoot too in that game, but they give you so little ammo, and it's mostly reliant on the awful combat, and it actually kind of gets more awkward with more enemies. You kind of feel like you're fighting the same enemies too. The kinesis thing is fun for a little bit, but then you just kind of rely on it in certain instances when you can, just to get rid of annoying situations, or situations you know are just going to annoy you. The repeated bosses, while Elden Ring does have that, it mostly puts it in the side areas instead of making it the main focus of the story, where the main bosses serve a purpose to the story and lore, and actually have more variety there. And there's just so many, like, the exploration, there's barely exploration, and the freaking the chest, their equivalent of mimics, a little bug thing comes out, is just stupid, as well as the stretchy penis monster that jump scares you. They do way too much, so the game loses any tension with not only how many freaking horde mode scenarios they throw at you. And a lot of games do horde modes, but there's a lot of games that use the direction and the story a lot better in those cases, and this one just, Callisto just doesn't, and that's the difference between them. Like, it just doesn't have that weight. And the reason that the main character is so forgettable is because he's acted so well that it feels manipulative, using really good acting for a character you barely know much, or like the direction of getting to know him or his backstory. Just the pacing to it alone is really terrible, because they'll share one bit of information about him early on, and then they'll take like hours and hours until they finally show you, or just a really long time. I don't think the game's that long, honestly, but like, it still feels like a long time before you get back to that stuff, and by then you're kind of just bored and it becomes forgettable and you're not going to remember it. Some people will remember it, and it's okay to like it once again, but yeah, it's not good. It's not going to go down in history as a good game. I mean, you already got big YouTubers like freaking Jacksepticeye being like, nah, don't care, didn't like it. Just big freaking disappointment. And yeah, I think the experience has actually gotten worse because of what recently happened. Like, it shouldn't have, and I shouldn't feel the way, but it's kind of done that ESO effect where I don't like ESO, and I think it's a mediocre game, but I'm willing to be like, it is better now. But with how many freaking assholes there are on that game and how sour they made my experience with it, it's just really soured my opinion even more. And I know everybody has that with a lot of different games, but like, I don't think it quite hits on the same level sometimes, and this is just a little ridiculous. If you do have somebody that does that to you, like for even Elden Ring and stuff, like, please don't let it get to you, and I probably shouldn't let this get to me. It's still stupid in the moment, and it should have never happened in the first place. I just felt that I had some things that add or contribute to the conversation, and I felt really depressed, and just like I don't know, I just did not feel good after watching that video. It was hard to watch, and I had so much to say, but at the same time I was like, I'm struggling to say it. Like, that video hurt that I watched on Callisto Protocol, like a defense of it, and once again, that's fine, but I feel like it went a little too far eventually, to the point that the person was bullying, and when I was looking through the comments, I just realized this guy's doing the same thing. He's actually just basically saying your opinion doesn't matter, while using the excuse or wordage of that's your opinion, in order to hide that, even though I think the motivation behind it and the direction it's taken is taking a opposite route from that, and not meaning that in the ending, especially with how much it had to be said. I mean, I've replied to people who are rude in my videos, but I wasn't an asshole. At least I hope I wasn't. And if I am, I'm sorry. I remember with the Shenmue thing, somebody didn't like my video on that, and I don't think I was rude to them. I think I just told them that's just how I felt about it. If you love it, more power to you. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was kind of along those lines. And I hope I'm never that rude. I feel like because of I'm strangely strong when it comes to that stuff, because somehow I make it through, but like it can get to me mentally. If you don't know, I do have autism. I have Asperger's. I always thought I have ADHD too, but my doctors never confirmed it. But I've always had some of the major symptoms of it. But my doctors aren't very good anyway, so whatever. And I have big anxiety issues. I actually had an anxiety attack quite a while back. I'm glad I don't again. I've had anger issues in the past too. Sorry to throw that stuff on you. So I try not to let that stuff get to me. It's hard not to in my position. But yeah, just letting you know that stuff frickin' does suck and it does hurt when it happens. But I try to take it with stride. And I do think that like the best thing I said in my comment was that I think it's a really strong comparison while not being rude. And I think it's the one thing that should stand out the most in everything I said is, for example, when you are a employee at a cash register in, say, a Starbucks or whatever the place is, and you have a rude or nasty employee or employee causing, or not an employee, but a customer causing trouble, you shouldn't, the best thing to do is either try to work out the situation peacefully so that they can get the hell out of your place, even for Karen, I would say that same thing. Or if things, like you can't handle things in that way, get your boss to take care of it. And I would hope that your boss doesn't encourage bad behavior, so that wouldn't be very good or reflective on them. And, or I would say, like, ask them to leave peacefully, you're causing trouble. And if they continue, then, yeah, once again, resort to getting your boss or someone else to try to escort them. Because it just leaves you with a bad reputation, you look terrible. And I know I've had my flaws, we're all human, but really, do you have to go down the route of being a bully and a narcissistic one at that? Yeah, I hit hard with what I'm trying to say, and I do it a lot, and even long-ass messages. I shouldn't, but, like, what else am I gonna do? As well as I just think that the things I had to say were important and that they could contribute to the conversation. But man, it shouldn't have gone that way. I started to just discover what this person was really like through their comments, and it just kept going down a rabbit hole that was freaking ridiculous, and it just eventually just wasn't worth it. And I just want to share that on here. I know I brought it up a couple times, but like this is the only, like this and other stuff is the only way to relieve like the stress I deal with stuff like that. But luckily, hopefully it's over. I haven't seen another comment from him. It was weird that like after 4 hours of the 4 or 5 hours since my last comments, I thought it was done and over. We ended on a peaceful kind of resolution. Kind of. I mean, I wasn't trying to be rude. I hope I didn't, and I am sorry if I did. But then he sent like 2-3 messages, one to an older message I had, and honestly, I got rid of that, and I even said that, added that to one of my comments. And then 2, yeah, it was just like, why do you have to have the last word thing? Like, I actually did stop. That's funny that you say the last word, because that comment you said that about was actually older than your last word you're having now. In order for that to stop, you have to stop commenting on your channel there. The reason I feel what I'm saying is honestly more important than you. I'm sorry to go that way, but I do feel that way, is because of the motivation and the fact that it's actually bullying and not a good perspective. This is kind of like the situation with the QTV and Actman. It's like, yeah, you should probably stop with that guy, but you can see the side of why somebody would go after such a abusive asshole like that. And it felt like a similar situation, but not on the same level, hopefully. So I would hope that this person would grow and learn, become a better person like I want to be, and I have flaws too, and I hope to resolve them too, but when I see things that I do see flaws in other people sometimes, or other things said, and I do have points of view that I want to say and share, and I felt like this was the first, because I've done that to other channels. I have made messages, whether in a positive or even sadly negative light, but I never got it like attacked for it, or what felt like an attack at least, or like aggressive in general. Like even with rant videos, like they don't take it out on the people watching. This is the first one that's done that, and yeah, it was just really stupid. Really stupid. Like, what were you thinking? I know you're trying to get to every comment. I can see that with your comments. But yeah, it was not deserved, let's say. Anyways, Stray, Immortality, Pokemon Arceus. I actually kind of like Pokemon Arceus, and then we had the bad Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, or at least when you dock it, it's pretty terrible. I liked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. I haven't played Neon White. I liked the Skywalker Saga Lego Star Wars. There's Callisto Protocol. Is that worst game of the year, though? That is the question. It's very disappointing, that's for sure. Overwatch 2 is pretty bad, because that one honestly has some really terrible microtransactions and crap, Battle Pass and all that. Metal Hellsinger. I'm not a big fan of death metal music. High on Life is fun. I'm having fun and laughing at that frickin' game. It's hilarious. I do think that like the Quarry was scarier than Callisto, but is Callisto worse than Overwatch 2? That's a hard one. They're both pretty bad, but I'll just put it in second worst. Sonic Frontiers. Oh, Saints Row exists though too. That's a bad game, but at least it's a game. Even frickin' Critical Nobody was like, Saints Row is better because it's at least a game and crap. Playable and crap. Has stuff. I haven't played Ghostwire Tokyo. I probably should. I loved Kirby in the Forgotten Land. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was great. Sifu. Like, even if you really love Callisto Protocol, how's it going up against these other games? There's no way. Even Plague Tale Requiem. Bayonetta 3. Gotham Knights was a big disappointment. Tunic was great. Sifu, I haven't gotten to play, but I hear great things. Same with Cult of the Lamb. Marvel Midnight Suns. Did that come out this year? Maybe it did. I just didn't know about it. Splatoon 3. I haven't played many Splatoon games, honestly. I haven't played them much. Yeah, Elden Ring's my game of the year. I think that's gonna wrap up the video. Let's just see. I think I'm mostly looking forward to... Yeah, I don't care about Hogwarts Legacy and Forspoken. I'm kind of no longer... Like, both Star Wars and Harry Potter I kind of fell out of after Fantastic Beasts and the latest Disney crap. But I am looking more forward to Jedi Survivor, I will say that. Forspoken just kind of feels like a game I'm going to be mad and feel the same way as most Sony exclusives now. That I think it's still a really good game, probably going to be a really good game. It's just, for me, I need something else, because I'm honestly bored of playing stuff that feels similar to that. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, I'm done with Diablo. Honestly, Final Fantasy 16 I'm not sure how to feel about. I'm kind of dead on freaking Assassin's Creed and fighting games, so Street Fighter 6 and Mirage, while they look okay, I just don't care. Resident Evil 4 looks great. I hope it is good. Alan Wake 2, if that does come out that year. Atomic Heart looks really cool. Long looks interesting. I can't play the Dead Space remake, sadly. Baldur's Gate 3 I hope is really good, because I love the first two. Hollow Knight Silksong looks cool. Stalker 2, I love Stalker. Pikmin 4, that's gonna be awesome. Sons of the Forest. I loved Wolf Among Us. That was That was actually a good Telltale game. I got really invested in that, and I look forward to the sequel. Lies of P looks interesting. That's like Pinocchio Souls. Uh, Payday 3 is gonna be a big deal too for some fans. Yeah. I feel like Zelda's gonna be my game of the year though, because it looks freaking beautiful and it looks like it's gonna be fun. Looks like it's gonna give me that same love I had for the freaking Breath of the Wild and such. And I really hope they step it up. I really hope they do, because with Horizon Forbidden West, they didn't step it up enough for me. And, like, they don't need to necessarily, but I felt like there was something missing. And it just kind of left me voided. It probably could be also because I was just kind of left feeling empty after playing so many games with so many freaking cinematics and crap. Trying to be movies, it's just kind of tired me. Still don't think they're bad games, I just kind of got tired of it. And I'm sorry there wasn't much gameplay of me playing Elden Ring. I'm sorry, it's just me sitting here talking, if you don't enjoy that. Oh, I hope I was entertaining enough for you. Maybe you got sick of me. I don't know. I do it because I want to do it and because I enjoy it. And that's what truly matters. You want that passion and love. You want that enjoyment. Even when you're ranting about something, you want to be passionate, but not too passionately hateful and in a way that, and I know I've gotten that way probably sometimes, but I wouldn't say that it was a constant thing. It was like more of little outbursts from once in a while, and it was for more genuine reasons like microtransactions and stuff like that. So, and I also recommend Mike Burnfire's video on Callisto Protocol and Overwatch 2. Like, I think they did really good jobs with those, and I hope to see more of what they have to say, because I love that YouTube channel, and they're freaking awesome. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Please remember, if you did enjoy, to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments below. I'll see you guys next time. Hit the bell for notifications, too, to keep up to date with the latest videos and/or content. And sorry if the screen bored you. You'll probably get that with read-alongs anyway, so... I just wanted to sit here and talk about my favorite games. See ya, and have a awesome... Oops. I forgot I had to press it. And have an awesome day, is what I'm trying to say. Bye-bye!